Hello everybody on this Saturday evening. How is everybody doing? I hope everybody's doing well. And yeah, this is kind of like an on the fly, seat of your pant kind of stream. One that I just decided to do at the very last minute, like 10 minutes ago. So I was umming and ahhing about doing a show, and I just looked around, and do you know what? I didn't see anything worthwhile watching. And I thought, there's no real streams going on, and it was kind of boring. And I thought, it's Saturday night, people deserve better. People deserve a ranty show. Something that they can get in there and then get stuck in and they can see some decent stuff. So, here it is. I've decided to fire one up, and hopefully we'll get a few people in the chat very soon once they know that the show's actually underway. So, let me say a few hellos to the people that have joined thus far. Let's say hello to Anthony Burrows, nice to see you in. We have Ali B, who says, that's funny, Ali. Thank God for gravity. Okay, Ali B. They underscore says, evening. Indeed it is. In fact, it's quite late here. It's gone 10 o'clock. It's gone 10 o'clock. I'm slightly late, later than my normal time that I would start, but yeah, it's just the way it is. We've got Globebusters Bob, who's turned up in the show. How's it doing? Who's that? Is that Ruhif that's joined us in the chat? I believe it's Ruhif. Yep, it is definitely Ruhif that's joined us. So I'll say hello to Ruhif and then carry on with my introductions. Hi, Ruhif.
Good morning.
Hey.
How are we?
Good evening. I'm tired, but hey.
It's 7 o'clock here. Don't know why I'm out of bed on a Sunday morning, but yeah, good morning.
How is it in the future?
How is it in the future? Good call. I don't know. Yeah. Oh, good. Anyway, continue your intro.
Okay, three-legged squirrel. How is it doing? We have Skywatcher Footage, who says hello. You've got YouTube, John Schnoozlik, nice to see you in. Brandon Cook, Bandsaw Bandit, nice to see you in, my friend. Paul Keelan, hope you've been out doing some photography recently. We've got some beautiful weather. And Christian Kumar, oi oi, how is everybody doing? Right, how's it going, Ruhif? So we haven't spoken for a while, actually.
Yeah, there's been a fair bit of non sequitur stuff happening, so that's been taking up a bit of time. I haven't made a video for like a month, and then the previous one was like a month before that, so yeah, haven't been paying a whole lot of attention to Flat Earth. So what's been happening? Probably a better question to ask you.
Well, I guess, you might be the right kind of person to ask, actually. I've been trying to ascertain the data required for looming. So you may be the right person to ask. I was actually just speaking to Dr. John D before I actually went live on the show, and he's after that same information too. So all the different variables that may go into it, do you have a database that you can say, okay, well, if the temperature was this, and if the pressure was this, and if, all the other things that you want to put into that to make this looming happen, would you be able to provide a spreadsheet or something so that we could sort of track our own looming things?
Okay. First of all, measuring that sort of stuff to get a density gradient, measuring that stuff close to the surface is near impossible. Like I saw Dr. John D do it from Brighton to Worthing, and he had, I think his thermometer had like 0.5 degree resolution or something like that. The best way is to get above the surface, like I've always said, where you can be a little more sure of the typical conditions. So things like the weather balloon data is really good. Using the first couple of measurements above the ground, which is usually over the first few hundred meters. You can work out a density gradient from that, and it is around about 1.17, which is the 7/6R. But yeah, measuring that stuff close to the surface over such a very small change in elevation is basically impossible. So yeah, weather balloon data is the best, and that's only a few hundred meters above the surface.
So when you say
That's what I did in my video.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you say it's almost impossible, does that mean that you're making leaps of assumptions when you claim that something is being loomed because we can see it? So just because we can see it in your claim of looming is a massive assumption based on the fact that you can't get the data to prove that.
Any assumption, so any claim of looming very close to the surface is always an assumption. Whether you call it a massive one, I would disagree. It's a very, very strong assumption if you are a decent amount above the surface, because you have that supporting data. When you're really close to the surface, you have no idea. The tiniest measurement error can completely reverse the density gradient. It's unmeasurable close to the surface.
So could you tell us briefly what would be the most exact conditions for looming?
Just standard conditions, so no like a standard temperature gradient. That's pretty much it.
Just temperature, not pressure, nothing else. Just
the pressure tends to be pretty stable. The gradient.
Okay, so
it's all to do with gravity, right? So.
Okay, so what is the variables that go into this looming calculation? We've got temperature, we've got pressure. What else is there?
Yep, CO2 content and humidity are the next two.
Okay.
Humidity is a bigger factor than CO2 content, as far as I can tell, and also no one has any data for CO2 gradients.
Okay, so what would be the, if we was to take humidity, pressure and temperature, what would be the parameters to get the right conditions for looming?
Humidity is a really small factor. For the humidity gradient to overpower the pressure gradient and cause a inverse density gradient, the humidity gradient has to go from depending on which formula you use actually, but it has to go from 100% humidity to 0% humidity over the course of about 50 meters, roughly. So that's an enormous humidity gradient, which just doesn't exist once you're above the surface. The temperature gradient, if your temperature gradient is greater than 34 degrees Celsius per kilometer, that is strong enough to overcome the pressure gradient. You only get that 34, or can only get that 34 degrees very close to the surface. And that's why I say get above the surface.
So when you're talking about 34 degrees, are you talking about a 34 degree swing?
Yes. So a change in temperature over the space of a kilometer, like a gradient.
Well, that's a huge change. I mean,
yes, that's why it can only exist close to the surface.
No, I don't think that you could get 34 degrees of temperature change over a kilometer.
Oh, it's a gradient. So you could say 3.4 degrees over 100 meters, right? It's just a gradient.
I do not believe that's possible under any circumstances.
It is.
I
You're confusing
can't.
an absolute change with a gradient. Like I said, it's 34 degrees per kilometer, 3.4 degrees per 100 meters, 0.34 degrees per 10 meters. Surely you agree you can get a third of a degree change over 10 meters.
What, in temperature?
Yeah.
If we're talking over a kilometre and you're looking for 34 degrees of temperature change in that 1 kilometre, I highly doubt that that's possible.
It's just a ratio. It's a gradient. I'm not saying that we're measuring it from 0 to 1,000 meters. It's just a rate of change.
Yeah. Okay. So let's suppose it's 40 degrees. To get this change over a kilometre, you're talking about going from 40 degrees to what? 6?
0.
Yeah.
Or 80.
Are we talking about in elevation? We're talking vertical here.
Yeah, elevation.
We're talking up to 1 kilometre high, so 1,000 feet.
Yeah, but I still think you're confused about it. I still think you're confused about it being a gradient, and you're actually looking at between 0 meters and 100 meters and
No.
looking for a 34-degree change.
No, I'm looking between me here at sea level.
Yep.
Somebody flying a glider, let's say, at 1,000 feet, and here where I am on a nice sunny day, being, let's say, 34 degrees down at the beach, and him in his glider at just 1,000 feet, twice the height of Blackpool Tower above me, and to get the temperature swing to create this looming effect, you would need that glider to be flying in a temperature that would be 0.
You've got it around the wrong way. Oh yeah, let me correct a few things. Can we use meters to begin with?
Okay, yeah. I mean, by all means, you tell me your model. You tell me what it is that you're looking for.
Yeah. So let's say the temperature at the surface is 34 degrees. So it's hot at the surface, and 1 kilometer up it is 0 degrees.
Yeah.
Right. So it's freezing 1 kilometer up. That is what you need to not have looming.
Oh, to not have looming?
Yeah.
Well, I'm asking what you need for looming.
Anything less than that. Oh, and taking into account a little bit of humidity as well. So they work together. Humidity and temperature work together to try and overcome the pressure gradient.
So you're saying that if it's 34 degrees and 34 degrees 50 feet high, that would basically give you the looming conditions because they're on a par?
Yeah, if there's no temperature change, there will be looming. Again, ignoring humidity.
Okay. Well, I mean, this is your model, so, I mean, there's people in the audience that are listening to this, so this is all interesting.
Yep.
Whether or not I agree with that, which, to be honest, I don't.
Well, but, we can go through the formulas if you like.
Absolutely. Yes, please. Let's go through the formulas.
Let me bring it up. 1 sec. How do you screen share in this shit?
Underneath in the show channel, you see at the bottom it says voice connected, and you've got video and screen. So if you just click the screen,
right. Give me a minute to actually bring up the formula.
Sure, no worries.
Oops. Yeah. Right.
You might have also seen, well, maybe you haven't because you haven't been on the scene, but Simon Dan put a video out. He not mirrored, but he took the information and ran with it from a channel called Arctic Reflections. You might have heard of him, yeah. Sadly though, Arctic Reflections messed up big time, and not just in a little way, but in a ginormous way. And Simon Dan ran with it. Can you believe that? He actually ran with it and followed blindly Arctic Reflections, only to get totally destroyed yesterday on my show.
Well, I'm not exactly going to take your word that that's what happened. So,
we could run through it though if you wanted in a minute. I mean, if you want to run through the data that we do actually have for the observation, and you can tell me whether or not you think that the correct wind turbine was identified or not. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Give me something to do today, I guess.
Okay, right. Let's watch your screen. So this is for Dr. John D, who is in the chat right now. So
hello, Dr. John.
He's after this information, so I'm presenting it right now. Let me put it on big screen for everyone to see. Main input screen. There we go. There you go, Dr. John. Hopefully you can read that.
Right, so all this is, so there was a paper in 1996 by this Paul Sidor, I think it was, and he had gathered all the lab experiments over the previous decades and refined the formulas that they derived from those lab experiments. So all the lab experiments were mostly using interferometric refractometers to work out the refractive index of particular compositions of air. So, with temperature, pressure, humidity, and CO2 content, and, running thousands of measurements, and with different wavelengths of light as well, and, deriving formulas to work out the refractive index of air under all those conditions. And publishing that in a paper in 1996. He's not the first one to do that. There are plenty of previous formulas that were not quite as accurate.
So in this in this formula here, and the way they apparently did this testing, I should imagine they did some kind of testing. Did they place something behind a object, that could simulate an Earth curve and loom it up, or did they just look at something? Were they able to manipulate an object that they had full vision, direct vision line of sight to, and were they able to manipulate that?
This paper?
Yes.
No, this paper is purely about what the refractive index of air is under certain conditions. So you can see down the bottom here.
Right. So there's no looming. Yeah. So there's no looming here, though. There's no.
There's no external. Yeah. So this is purely in a lab.
Yeah. So there's no proof that this formula is capable of lifting something up from behind Earth curve.
We'll get to that in a second. This didn't even address that.
Yeah, no,
this is simply
Okay, so but when I asked you for this information, this formula, you've provided me this, and my question was.
This is part one.
About looming. So.
Yes.
Okay.
This is part one. We know, given. Oh, hang on. I have a child. What's up, buddy?
No worries.
Monkey. No. All right. Where was I at? Yeah, so we know from these experiments what the refractive index is under certain conditions, under lab-controlled conditions. So we can then take that outside to work out, if the conditions in our atmosphere are this, we can work out a density gradient or a refractivity gradient.
Yeah, you can work out a refractivity gradient, but still, the formula still doesn't say that would work from something that you cannot see in the first place.
Once you get a refractivity gradient, you can determine how much light bends and in which direction. Do you agree that once we know... Second.
To be honest, my question has always been the same. It's like you can manipulate things like a kaleidoscope. So things that you can see in a kaleidoscope, you can jumble it all around and you can move things around. Things can go up, things can go down. When it comes to actually trying to say that something is behind this hill, and then say, okay, the refractive indexes of the temperature say that, or the atmosphere say that you should be able to see a building that is behind a physical hill. So on the other side of a hill, let's say, you live on one side of a hill, somebody else lives on another. I don't care how many times you stare at that window, you are never going to see, ever, somebody else's house from behind that hill. It's just not going to happen.
Depends how much the light's bending.
Yeah, but Ruhif, this is what I'm saying. You never ever will see that. Let me shout out to Flat Earth Data. How do you devise measurement? This is to you, Ruhif. How do you devise a measurement from an optical effect? What's your base ? And can Ruhif apply maths?
Is this in general?
It's in the live chat.
Oh, in the live chat. Hold on. No.
Yeah. No worries.
Hey, monkey. No. How do you devise a measurement from an optical effect? How do you devise a measurement from an effect? How do interferometric refractometers work?
No, I think what he's asking is, you see something, right? And you just see it. How do you then turn it from what you see into a measurement? What is are you presupposing an R value to get your measurement? Are you already?
You don't have to, no.
So if you went out and you went down to the beach and you filmed a yacht, let's say it's 10 miles away, and you filmed the yacht, right, and you came back and you wanted to work your measurement out from it, right, and you could see all of the yacht at 10 miles away, there was nothing missing on it, right? So you've come back and you want to work out a measurement. What are you going to do? Are you going to go and include an R value?
Instead of using a yacht, I'm going to use a mountain because, like I say, get above the surface and look at something far away. So I would say I'm looking at a mountain. I also know the elevation of that mountain, and the elevation does not depend on the shape of the Earth. I can get elevations of mountains without assuming radius. So I know my elevation. I know the elevation of what I'm looking at. I can predict what the viewing angle should be to that mountain. and it might be 0 degrees, right? It might be completely at eye level. I can also get a density gradient from the conditions, and therefore work out how much refraction to expect. And then I make a measurement, like what is the actual angle that I measure, and I've taken into account refraction. So what else is there? Earth curve or not Earth curve?
Okay, so
my measured angle will match a prediction of either the globe or a flat Earth, and guess what? It actually matches in reality.
So when you actually do this formula, for looking at something that you're going to see off in the distance, some distant mountain, how do you go about collecting all this data from all the different atmospheric layers every 100 meters or so from your observation point right up to the distant mountain that's 50 miles away or 60 miles away? How do you do that?
Weather balloon data. There is an assumption that it's, well, not an assumption actually. I have taken, so for my observations in the Mojave Desert, I took weather balloon data from the closest weather station, which was Vegas, and it's, they're very, very similar climates.
How far away was Vegas to the observation?
50 miles, 100 miles, something like that.
So so weather data. Right, hang on, let me get this right. So in a need where you need every kilometre to make a difference, you need a kilometre to have these changes. You can see these changes to get this kind of information. You're relying on something that was 50 or 100 miles away to tell you what the weather conditions were in your location, all the way up to the mountain.
Locations. Yeah,
I know, but listen, I live in Blackpool, and when it's raining here in Blackpool and it's 15 degrees, over in Preston, my mate is out in the beer garden because it's 22 degrees and sunshine.
I understand.
Right?
I understand that it can be raining in one place and not raining in another.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that's only 16 miles away, right? When we go as far away as Manchester, in Manchester they could have 30 degrees up in Manchester, and here I'm freezing my knackers off in 15 degrees temperature, right?
I understand. So, they have Vegas and the Mojave Desert are next to each other. They have very similar climates. Hang on, can you hear my screaming children?
Yes, I can. Yeah.
All right.
If you want to return, that's fine.
Sure.
I mean, it's or we can go through this.
I'll see how it goes. I'll see how it goes for a minute or two. See if they kill each other. Okay. I want to actually put this this image into chat. I'm just got to figure out how to fucking save it. Save to downloads. There we go. So there's desktop effective radius. Whoops. Where are we?
Okay, so I think.
Hang on. Effective radius. There you go. Does that work?
So I think it's safe to say that there's no way of getting the exact data that you're after from 50 miles
bring
away.
Up that image I just put into the general thing.
Yeah.
All right, I'll be back in a minute.
Okay. So, okay. So we have something here. I'm not too sure what it is. I would imagine that's distance. That must be meters. 2,000 meters, 4,000, and this must be. I have no idea. It could be anything. I could be making it up. I have no idea. So I guess we'll just have to wait to see if he returns. Dr. John Dee's absolutely spot on. He could get data from 100 miles away, really, yeah. Listen, I could go to the Manchester weather forecast right now and get their data for the Manchester weather right now. It doesn't mean that's what it is here. It really doesn't. It really doesn't. But it's not very accurate. And Dr. John Dee's pulling his hair out right now saying the same things, which is understandable. So yeah, I think what we're doing here is we're pushing. Dr. John Dee and myself were talking before, and we are trying to try and push the globers now into nailing down exactly what the conditions would be to elicit some kind of looming, right? So this is what we're after. We're after them to put it out there, nail the colours to the chart or to the mast, and then then when we can go and do these observations that we're able to collect data from, and show a different thing to what they expect, then they're going to have some answers. Because every time I go filming locally, things always look the same. There's no real Earth curve where I live.
Right,
not that I can determine anyway. Right, okay, Ruhif, welcome back. What's this chart you've got up?
So this is, I think it was 90 days worth of weather balloon data from Vegas.
Okay.
And I've converted all that into density gradients and then applied effective Earth radius. So what does that refractivity gradient equate to in like 7/6R terms?
I don't know. You're going to have to tell me. I've just seen some dots on the screen.
No, that's what this that's what this is. So it's saying on the bottom here is elevation. So here is
it starts at 1 and then 105. We're starting at kilometers
so
there.
Across the x-axis is the elevation. So going from 0 sea level up to 11,000 meters. On the left here, so I've taken all the data from the weather balloons, converted it into a refractivity gradient, and then at that point assume Earth curve and express it as a radius multiplier. So this is kind of saying what how close are we to 7/6R? So 7/6 is like 1.17. So you can see in between 0 and 2,000 meters, it's roughly between 1.15 and 1.2. As you get much higher, the refractivity gradient gets less, so you get a little bit less refraction higher up, but you can see a clear trend there, right? We're between 1.15 and 1.2, getting down to about 1.08 or so.
Okay, so at what point would you need some super duper looming? At what point would super duper looming take place? What
well,
sort
you can
of?
See.
No. I mean,
see on the left here.
Yeah, I can see 1.05, 1.1, 1.15,
Yep.
1.2. So you say 1.17.
High.
Yeah. So 1.17 is for standard, and then when we go higher, what's that for? More refraction.
Higher elevation.
Is it for more refraction though? No. The
y-axis.
The elevation is on the bottom.
Yes, but the y-axis is the radius multiplier. So you can see there are a few dots up to like 1.5, right? That's pretty strong refraction.
So so 1.5 is strong refraction, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So what would be very strong refraction? What would what sort of numbers are we looking at for that?
Up to 2, I guess, is really strong.
Okay. Right. Okay.
I mean, there are places in the world where something like 1.9 is the standard.
You mean where it's very flat? Like where I live.
It would appear very flat. Yeah, it would appear flat, but it's not.
Okay, so
they've just measured a really strong refractivity gradient, density gradient.
So here's the thing: where I live, and where other people are actually filming locally now as well, we're pulling up observations that crush the globe by not just a few meters, but hundreds of meters over relatively
close
short.
To the surface?
About 22 to 25 meters above sea level. So it's not
that's
relatively
close.
Right? Well, I wouldn't say it's low down. 22 meters is quite high. 22 meters is what, 70 feet?
I think that's very close to the surface.
Well, you see what you're trying to say. You're trying to then give us. I'll tell you what. I won't go into that. Give us an elevation that you would say that the human needs to go to take these observations where we can dismiss any kind of super duper looming.
Like I said, there are places around the world which naturally and consistently have very high refraction, but to get away from the uncertainty around a really warm or cold surface, I'd say 100 meters would be really good. I mean, that question in itself is kind of a gradient. I mean, 30 meters is okay, 50 meters better. Like, it's better the higher you get.
Okay.
If you are like the observation that I made in the Mojave Desert, I think I was 100, like my line of sight. So the trajectory of my light over that observation was roughly 150 meters above the surface for the duration of that. Like, I was looking over a valley, and I was 150 meters over that valley. So I assumed 7/6R.
Okay. Right, let me share my screen with you. Just one sec.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm going to share it into the Discord. Yeah. So let us know when.
It's coming. Yep, there you go. You got
Google Earth up. Yeah, I've got Google Earth up. Yeah. So in my local location, we've done all these kind of observations. I've been down at Hoy Lake, and I've seen all the way to Llandudno. We have a little.
Isn't it Llandudno? I've heard it's Llandudno.
It's Llandudno. You don't mention. It's Llandudno. Anyway, okay. There's a little place here called the Lighthouse, and that's been seen absolutely perfectly all the way from Hoy Lake right down to less than 50 meters. So across this stretch here, it's actually called the Flats. This is the flats here.
Why is it called the Flats though?
Maybe because it's pretty flat. If you look at the elevation in the bottom corner, you'll see we've got -8 here. So in the water, it goes down to -8.
Very little change in elevation. That's why they call it the Flats.
Yep. There's very little change in the sea level underneath the water, right? So it all stays a very consistent amount. And what's funny is that stretches pretty much all the way over here to where I do my observations. In fact, there's a narrow gap. In fact, can you see this darker area here? And then you see another little darker area here. It's
pretty pixelated, to be honest.
Sorry. Okay.
To the right of Stenner Point, between Stenner Point and Starpool location.
Yeah. Can you see where it goes down to -29 meters right there?
Okay. Yep. Sure. Yep.
And then if I go over here, it's -7, right? So it's very deep.
Sure.
Okay, very deep, very shallow. And then we go a little bit there. There's -39. But if I follow this trajectory, if I follow this line of sight here, let's say, when it can finally move. So if I'm in this location and I avoid this trench, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a gap where I'm looking just across flats again. It's essentially flats. And this location that I film from down at Cleveland's naturally takes you through that gap. So when I go down and I film, let's put a line in. So I film from roughly around about here, and I'm looking at the buildings of Barrow way over here. That avoids, what that does is it avoids that trench there that's pretty deep, and it's pretty consistent flat all the way across. Don't you find that interesting?
Under the surface there, right?
Under the surface, yes.
Surface of the water.
So the water itself is not having to go up and down through these trenches because everything's pretty flat. So the water, the tide that's pushing in and out, it's going across a flat surface underneath the water rather than...
For years, you guys have been saying water conforms to the shape of its container, or water.
It does. If there is absolutely no energy inputted into the water, it will conform.
Then how much energy is going to what sort of?
Well, let me just clarify. If there is no energy input into the water, it will conform to its container. However, the oceans are a dynamic place with lots of energy transfer with the tides, and in those conditions, then unless you film in pristine conditions with no swell, no tide, in other words, a dead tide, then you are going to be.
I can shut this down in like a minute.
No, you couldn't. You're going to have energy.
There are poles. There are.
You're going to have energy input. Let me just finish. You're going to have energy input into the water, which means it's going to have an effect. And I've demonstrated that. I went down to Blackpool, way down here, and I saw from this location here, right down here, at high tide, bearing in mind, I saw all the way, way over there to the lighthouse over here, Walney Lighthouse, right? And when the tide, this was at dead high tide, and around about 20 minutes after dead high tide.
Where you are there, in the middle there, in between Walney and Cleveleys, Thornton Cleveleys, there are channel markers, right? Channel markers embedded in the ground, in the ocean.
Yep.
You can measure how much the water level changes. You can do that, right? Yeah. How much do you think it changes by? Sorry, how much do you think it changes by in addition to the tides?
Well, that's...
So we've got the tides going up and down, but how much do you think this extra force adds or removes from the tidal effect?
Well, let me tell you. Coming through here for
you can measure it by looking at those markers.
Well, let me tell you here, from the tide, there isn't that many markers here, to be fair.
Yeah, but there's at least one.
There's one, which is just off the coast here, but that isn't anything to do with anywhere else. There's just one that's just on this corner. That won't tell you everything that's going on.
But you can measure how much the water level changes by looking at that marker.
Measure how much the water changes by possibly, if it has that data, if it has an elevation profile.
Yeah, you can just see it. It's half painted yellow, half not painted.
No, that's not the mark. That's just...
There are markers that you can look at to gauge how much the water level is changing, whether you take into account tides or not.
Right, so you're looking at
take into account
there's actually three that's in a line here. There's 1, 2, 3. There's 3 star poles that go out. But you know, if you was to, I suppose, if you was to film it and try to take a measurement off the filming of it, then you could probably get some kind of information from it. But you would need to sail out to it and do the measurements of how high the yellow is compared to the black.
No, you could just use your focal length of your camera.
No.
As long as you know where it is. Yes.
No.
Yes.
Right, anyway, so let me go back to my point. My point down here was that at high tide, I saw 50 feet higher than I should have done on a globe, even with refraction. From this distance,
no, even with standard refraction.
Yeah,
you can't assume standard refraction very close to the surface.
Standard refraction, right? So let me just finish my point, which was at dead high tide with no movement of the tides and no swell. That's important. There was no swell on this day. None. No swell. 0. Right. So the tide was at dead tide, and I saw over here Walney Lighthouse. Now Walney Lighthouse should have been 120 feet behind the curve, and the focal height of it is just 69 feet. Now, as I say, this was at high tide. And what happened was that I kept filming this for around about 40 minutes or so. And then I noticed a sudden change. I stopped recording. I was talking to somebody actually that was doing that had gone over to Walney and was looking back. And I'd stopped filming.
Flatzoid?
No.
Evangel, sorry.
No. I'd stopped filming, and what happened, we were talking for about 20 minutes trying to get his camera being able to focus properly to capture the Blackpool Tower. Then, we sorted that out, I tried to refilm Walney Lighthouse over here. Couldn't see it, right? And I'd noticed that the water level had dropped. Right, the water level had dropped around about a foot really quickly within about 20 minutes. So what I did is I moved. It was actually over here. Sorry, I was on this corner here. So I moved from that corner and I climbed the steps, and I had to go up 30 feet. Get this, I had to climb 30 feet in elevation before I was able to re-see the lighthouse again. And I filmed this at the same time, and then I went down all the way down, kept stopping, filming it, couldn't see the lighthouse, came back to my original spot. Right, my original spot where I was able to see it at 30 feet, and guess what? I couldn't see it, right? Because it was taking another 5 minutes or so of the tide dropping, and I came up another.
Conditions change.
So I had to go up another 10 feet to see it. No, what I did is I went and checked the data on the rapid release of the tide. In other words, the change in the tide, and it went from 0, as in no change because it was a dead tide, to going to 30 centimeters every 20 minutes. 30 centimeters every 20 minutes.
Obviously, I can't go back and see what happened, but we've documented rapid changes in refraction here. So where Harry Baird.
This wasn't a rapid. This was right. This you seem to think that this is just down to a temperature change or something like that.
We've documented it here.
No. You see, the thing is, if this was a one-off, I could go with that if it was a one-off. But this happens every time that there's a change in the tide, whether it's going in or coming out. I also went, funnily enough, all the way...
I think I know what you mean. You're saying the change in tide caused the water level to rise more than the tide.
Caused a localized bulging, a local pressure point where the water's trying to recede and trying to push out at 30 centimeters every 20 minutes. And that rapid push back into the ocean here caused localized bulging, right, which was able to affect what we were able to see from this point down here.
Right, and so you can measure that against the tide markers or the channel markers.
Possibly.
You can.
Possibly.
Okay. That's your next job.
Okay. I've always got jobs. You know what it's like, Ruth. Now's your job, right? Now's your job to be to play the devil's advocate, right?
Right. Or just the glober.
Okay, so I want you to play the glober here, right? So, here's we have an observation point, right?
Yeah. Is that Formby?
Yeah, it's Formby, and 19 meter in elevation, but with his camera height, he was about 22 meters, right?
Right.
So, what he did, he filmed over here, and he's looking towards, originally over here towards Douglas Complex. So, in the video that I'm going to show you, he films Douglas Complex. Do you know what that looks like, Douglas Complex?
I do. That's a 3 in an L shape, right?
It is, yeah. So it's 3 in an L shape. Then what he does is he pans across to the left. You can see him moving across, and he sees a buoy, right? Then he pans across again, and he sees a boat, right? Yep. And then what he does is he starts to see some wind turbines, right?
Yep.
So he's panning through these wind turbines here. So here's my line of sight, and this is my line of sight to wind turbine 56 there. I've counted them out.
Oh, shit. Am I going to count turbines in this?
No. But what I want you to look at here is the layout of the actual wind farms. So down here we've got Burbank Extension, right? So if I put the line of sight to wind turbine 56, which is there, you'll see that it doesn't actually even get to this Burbank Extension. It doesn't actually get that far. Can you see that? So the only wind...
You're looking at the left, at the right edge, sorry, of Burbank into... Is that Gwinty Moor, that one?
It is Gwinty Moor, yeah. I'm surprised that you remember all this. So
I mapped them all out on Google Earth once.
Well, I did it too, actually. So this is my original layout. And then, funnily enough, one of your Glober friends, Arctic Reflections, he also mapped it out too, but he used these different wind farms, these overlays. So what I did is I put his overlays in as well, using a different map, and what do you know? I mean, it's absolutely identical. Let me get the miniature ones up. So these are the miniature ones up. You can see that this is wind turbine 59.
Yeah, there's a website called KISS Orca, so KIS-ORCA, and it has maps. So I'm pretty sure they have actual latitude, longitude coordinates on them.
Yeah.
That's what I use.
Yeah. So basically, I used his map and I used my map, but I'm just using my map for now because it's identical. It's identical. There's no difference between the two. And can you see that it says Met mast there? You know what these Met masts look like. They're a bit different to the turbine. Anyway, so that's between turbine 55 and 56. That's 56, and this line of sight. Hang on, where are we? Where's turbine 55? There's turbine 55, which is up there.
Yeah.
There's turbine 55, 59. Anyway, turbine 56
This is just to
there.
get our line of sight correct, right?
Yes, all it is.
Yeah, okay. I will accept for the purpose of the argument you've got your line of sight correct. I just want to know what your actual argument is.
Well, we also have a Met mast down here. We have a Met mast down here. Let me take off the polygon so you can see it. So can you see there's another met mast there?
Yep.
And if I put his turbines on, can you see that there's a met mast diagram there on his, circled in red, right? So so basically we're arguing about this, the met mast, and whether or not we've got the correct line of sight and correct wind turbines. Now, funnily enough, and I've already done this, I've counted the turbines. There's 160 turbines in the Ormonde, and in total, to get all the way across from this line of sight, from his observation point, to get to that met mast over there, it's 199 turbines, right? That's in total, right? All right. So you could add them up yourself, you can go all the way across there, but there is 199, or there's 55 to 56 to the met mast here, right? And all this is to get a line of sight. So if Arctic Reflections is correct,
there is a dispute over the line of sight, right? That's the dispute.
The dispute is over the line of sight. Now it's my contention that if it's met mast 55 and 56, it takes you to a line of sight over here to this hill, to this hill here, right? That's the line of sight I'm saying that it is. And if it's wind turbine 199, then it will take you over in this direction, basically to this mountain range that's about 1,000 meters high, something like that. Yep. So it's basically whose line of sight it is that's correct. Now, as
that sounds like fun.
Yeah. So we've got mine's 55 to 56 turbines. So Douglas complex, the buoy, the boat. Then we see the turbines. So I'm going to play you a video, and you can count with me and tell me.
If I'm watching your screen's pretty pixelated.
Okay, well,
this is like, I would love to do this, and I will do it.
That's fine. Let's see if I can get the video up. I play it in slow, actually, funnily enough. So you should be able to count with me. Simon Dan.
Yeah, I will count myself later.
Okay. Where is it? Huh. Oh, come on. Here we go. History. There we go. Right. Pause that. Let's move it up to the point in question, and I'll share my screen. Right, there we go. Right, let's share my screen so you can see. Here we go. So, can you see Mr. Simon Dan?
I can.
Okay. So, did you see that? He did a little hoo-ha. Right, okay. Now, here we have Douglas complex, right? There's a full video of this actually, but I've just cropped it out for ease of this. There's the Douglas complex. So we're definitely moving to the left, right?
Yep.
We're definitely moving to the left. Oh, and now we come to a buoy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Buoy.
A buoy.
Oh, that's pretty.
And then we're going to come across and we're going to have a look at a boat. There we go.
Hey.
And there's a nice little boat.
Has that boat been identified at all?
No, not as yet.
No, all right.
But we do have the
got
data.
Date and time, everything, right?
Yes,
okay,
I've got all of that. There we go. Cool. So there's the boat, right? Yeah. There's the first wind turbine that we're coming to, right? Yeah. So I'm going to play the video, and you can count with me. I've slowed it down a little bit. So I'm counting, that's three. Hang on, wait. There's 4, 5, 6, yeah. 7, 8, 9,
9, 10.
10. And I've even labelled it turbine 10, just to see whether or not,
This is all fine.
Yeah. So if we get to 199, he's right, and if we get to, there we go, that's number 20.
To be honest, I won't declare a winner or a loser until I examine it myself. So
okay, well, there's a big difference between 55 and 199.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay. So I've it's obviously going a little bit slower. We had this game last night actually, the whole panelists, and we all counted it together. And we essentially came up with the same thing. There's wind turbine 50. And let me just
land now.
Hey. Yeah, there's land
Is
in
there
the
land behind it now?
Yeah, can you see that land behind in the background?
I don't think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you see there's a met mast there? Can you see with the
Yes.
red light and stuff? So there's a met mast there, right? So my argument, I guess, is the land that's behind this here, have we actually reached
Hang on. Anthony's trying to call.
Okay.
1 sec. We are joined live by Anthony Riley. What's up, Anthony? We're live on Ranties. Do you want me to call you back? Yeah. All right. See you soon. There you go.
Right. Okay. So, have we reached the pinnacle?
Am I live? Am I on?
Have we reached the pinnacle of 199 turbines, or did we just get to 50, 60, 70? I don't know. You want to claim 70? That's fine.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm in your favour at the moment.
You're in my favour. Perfect. That's it. Because if we'd have gone all the way to 200, which would have taken a lot longer, and to be honest, there would have been a lot more turbines. 140 odd more. So basically, this is the landmass that we're arguing about in the background. And you can definitely see it. It's definitely there. I could take a screenshot and change the contrast, and you'd see it. But it's definitive that there is land behind there. It's just a little bit, it's not as clear. So now, as you say, you think it's in my favour. I agree too. I think the audience agrees too from last night. I agree too. Now, Simon Dan punted with Arctic Reflections on this, and now Arctic Reflections tried to say that this was the met mast that took you in the direction of some land that would have been visible on the globe, right?
The Llandudno side.
The Llandudno side. The problem being, right, and this is a big problem, that the mountain that the hill that you're looking at right now is essentially 52 miles away, and it's only about 170 meters high. Now, even including refraction, and this is standard refraction, we're still left with about the height of Blackpool Tower that it should be behind the curve. Now, not excluding the fact that we're seeing all this amount of height. This is quite a substantial height above the supposed horizon. So, you could even put Blackpool Tower underneath that, and you'd still have visible, basically. So what's the problem here? This should be long gone, but we see it. Now, do you think Simon Dan was a bit silly in just jumping to the gun here and believe in Arctic Reflections?
I haven't seen Arctic Reflections. I haven't seen what Simon... I don't even know whether the point of contention is correct. I've got to go and watch this stuff and get down with the whole argument.
Okay. Well, here's Arctic Reflections. This is his video. So he's taken us from Formby Point. He's taken us through the turbine here to Llandudno. You can see where he's lined it up to Llandudno.
Is he taking you through Burbank?
He's actually taking you through Burbank Extension, yes.
Is that the point of contention, whether we're going through Gwintimore or Burbank?
So you see this little yellow X up here, funnily enough, on his map. It has a little yellow X.
Yep.
Little yellow X. Now, that should have been one of these, but on his, it doesn't have one of them. He has a red circle around his. It's a met mast, but on his site that he used, which is gpsnauticalcharts.com, this yellow X should actually be a met mast, but it isn't. Now, this is the line of sight that we picked out to number 55 to 56, which on my C4 offshore wind farms shows the met mast there, right? In the video, it shows the met mast. And the line of sight through this met mast, which is just 55 to 56 turbines through, which we both counted and got to about the same amount, is substantially closer in my favour than all the other 199 wind turbines it would have had to look to get through to this point here, which he is proposing is the turbine that we're looking through. Now, Simon Dan jumped all over this, and he went with this. He believed that Arctic Reflections had debunked this observation. The problem was, like I say, it would appear, to all counts and purposes, that he got it wrong, substantially wrong as well, because he should have been looking through that. So, this is from Arctic Reflections video.
I will look into it, absolutely.
Okay. So with that amount of discrepancy, though, because it is a substantial amount of discrepancy, it has to be said. We're looking at there's 30 turbines, 40, 50, and we've got this mountain in the background that should be the height of Blackpool Tower behind, just 52 miles. Now, to be honest, that seems like quite a lot to me. But this is standard for where we live. Are you trying to say that we should have a geographical standard refraction for area?
I'm saying that particular areas tend to have a stronger average or weaker average refraction, but refraction does change throughout the day, absolutely, yeah.
Could I propose that it's not that? Could I propose that it's the flats where I live? The flats underneath the water, which we talked about before, where I showed you that the elevation of the land underneath the water is just
you can
pretty
propose.
constant.
You can propose anything you like, Randy.
Okay, so if I propose that, and then I also propose that lakes are pretty much the same, and reservoirs and stuff like that, Bedford levels, all this kind of stuff where we've done these great observations where we have a very consistent, low-lying, with not a lot of input on the water, where it's going to churn things up. But when you go to places like Hawaii and you've got these huge drop-offs, or Australia or New Zealand where you've got these massive drop-offs and you get these choke points where the water's going to bulge up, do you think that could affect, what you're actually doing these observations for?
No, I think we already measure those. Like, we already measure swell. And we measure the waves as they're breaking, but I mean, just get above the breaking waves and then you've only got swell to deal with. Second. Oh, Paige, hello. No, she's muted.
Right, sorry about that.
That's right.
I just got called away for a sec.
Sorry, I don't have headphones on, but hi, Ruhi.
Hello.
Hey, listen. Right now, I need to disappear for a couple of minutes. Could I leave you guys to?
I was just about to go and look at this Arctic reflection thing.
Okay, well, I will put the link in a moment. Can you hold the fort down for just a couple of minutes, please?
Oh,
you do me a favour.
I'll take questions from the chat then.
Well, you got Paige and you've got the real Bob Dolly that could have a chat with you. It's all good.
Yeah, Paige says she hasn't got headphones though. So.
Right, I'll be back in a sec.
I'll take questions. I'll take fucking non-set questions if you like. So tag me in the chat.
Today?
Tag me in the chat if you want to ask a question. That's ROO.
Okay, I've got headphones on now.
Nice one. How have you been, Paige? I haven't spoken to you for a while, actually.
Terrible today.
Yeah.
I am so pissed off.
What happened?
Yesterday I went and stayed at my mum's the night before last in Bairnsdale. Came home yesterday and got stopped at a COVID stop on the way home on the highway.
At the border?
Just halfway between Bairnsdale and Orbost, just right near Lakes Entrance, so half an hour.
Oh, you guys are still under
town.
massive restrictions, aren't you?
Yeah. And I had no idea my license was expired. And the guy, they were just checking licenses as people are going through. So he comes over, wind down my window, hand out my license, and he goes, "Can you pull over into the shade over there?" And I thought, that's a bit weird. Okay, so I pulled over into the shade. He's letting everyone else through. What the fuck's going on here? He comes over with a drug test kit, tested me, comes back with a breath test kit in his hand. I said, so the drug test kit came back negative, didn't it? You can't get me on that. And he goes, no, but I got you on something else. And then they impounded my car because my license was expired.
Fuck.
He put little things behind my wheel so I couldn't drive away. Like, I wasn't even doing anything or saying anything to make them think, that I was going to do something silly. And he's like, I said, you can't, it happened to me like about 10 years ago. My license had expired and I had no idea. And the guy just said, okay, well, you've got, I think, 90 days or something, or I think it was 90 days. You've got 90 days to go home and get it sorted out. And this guy just said, no, I think my partner had to come and pick me up. I was only half an hour outside of town. I mean, it's only a pain because it's not my car, it's my brother's car, so I'm going to have to pay for it to be unimpounded. I've got another car, so it's not that. It's just that because I didn't fail the drug test and the breath test, he was pissed off. And I'm thinking, so instead of being, grateful that your citizens aren't drug affected and alcohol affected when they're driving, you're pissed off. Like, wow.
Yeah. The fine's like $700, isn't it?
Yeah, he goes, oh, hang on, you've got to sign these fines. I said, no, I don't want that shit. I'm not consenting to that. Fuck off.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll be a couple
I got
grand.
busted once as well. I had a car. So for a long time, we had 3 cars for some reason. And one of the cars just basically sat outside our house for like 6 to 9 months. And I remember going to pick it up when we moved house, not realizing the rego had expired. And it was like 2 Ks. I drove from my house in the same suburb to the same suburb, 2 Ks, and in that 2 Ks, the cops have their automatic license plate recognition, and I just drove past the cop and got a fucking $1,400 fine just moving my car from my old house and new house.
Do you want to know the funniest thing he said? When he come back to the car, and I said to him, gee, you must be so proud of yourself stopping a huge criminal like me. And he goes, I never said you were a criminal. I'm a highway patrol cop. I don't deal with crime. And I said, my point exactly. Oh, my God, there is no crime here. My job doesn't deal with crime. Oh, fuck me.
Would I be correct in saying that if you're in America, you would lean towards the sovereign citizen movement? Would that be accurate?
Me? Yeah, common law. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yesterday,
right, cool.
See, I just wanted to get home yesterday. I was tired. I'd gone and looked after my dad all day, done all his cooking, done all his cleaning, in his washing and all that shit. And I just wanted to get home. So I thought, I'm not going to start any shit. I'll just give him my license, do what I'm supposed to do, and I'll be out of here. So I tried to do the right thing and not cause a fuss, and this is what I get for it. So now I'm going to have to go through all the hassle of finding out if I can convene a common law court to take this copper to court for stealing my car. And so now I've got a huge big dilemma on my hands. Either that or I just take the shafting up the arse and pay for it.
What did you get stopped for in the first place, Paige? Sorry, I missed that part.
Everyone was getting stopped to check their license, but he decided, I think because of the way my car looks, he decided to ask me to pull over to drug and breath test me. I think he thought that, I'm a bit of a hoon. I live out in the country. My car's a hoon car. So I think he thought I was a bit of a hoon and might be drug affected or drink affected. So I was literally the only car he made pull over to the side to be drug and breath tested. And because I failed both of them, I passed both of them. Yeah, I didn't. He was so fucking pissed off. He goes, do you drink? I said, no. He goes, have you been drinking? I said, no, I don't drink. And he goes, have you been, you've been drug tested before? I said, yeah, of course. And he goes away and gets a drug test, brings it back, comes back after, 10 minutes when it hadn't had anything come up on it with a breath tester. And so he's obviously thought, oh no, she's lying to me about not drinking. The drug test hasn't come back positive, so she must be drinking. So he come back with the breath test. I said, that's not going to come up with anything either, mate. I don't drink.
Speaking of that, with coronavirus, everyone's at home and they became alcoholics. I went the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
I literally have not had any alcohol for close to 3 months. I just haven't.
Oh, that is fantastic. That
I went the opposite.
So happy to hear.
Because I used to, on the way home, I'd have a sneaky cocktail at Mossman Hotel, and that would be my drinking.
Yeah.
And then when we couldn't really go out, I was like, I don't want to drink at home. So
yeah. So you're just a social kind of drinker. You don't.
Oh
no!
When I have a sneaky cocktail on the way home, it's by myself.
Okay.
It's not with anyone. They got good cocktails there. So anyway.
But you don't sit there night after night by yourself drinking every night.
People have like a bottle of wine per night, and I'm like, holy shit, that's fucking 7 drinks per night. That's enormous.
My mum's like that. 5 o'clock's wine o'clock. Yuck.
I used to make my mum her Scotch and Diet Coke, Scotch and soda at home when I was about 12.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Are there any questions in the chat?
Does anybody want to know anything from you?
Right, I'm
Gamer
back.
Tamer is... Oh, back.
I'm back. I'm sorry
Gamer
about
Tamer, anyway, wants to know,
Don't worry,
is
I told
there a
everyone
supposed...
a fancy story, Auntie.
Yeah, we filled your dead air, Auntie.
Okay.
We'll send you a bill later. Is there a supposed geometric horizon? Yes, there is a geometric horizon, but it is not the horizon that we see. We see the apparent horizon because of refraction. The horizon you see, anything you see is affected by refraction. Your hand in front of your face is affected by refraction.
So, Ruhif, can I ask, if it's determined, and I'm sure you're an honest Glober here, if it's determined that Simon Dun's got it wrong, along with Arctic Reflections, will you be vocal enough to let them know that they got it wrong?
I'll come on your show and say it. Yeah, I may even make a video.
Cool. I look forward to that.
I had this with Taboo Conspiracy. So what was the Stephen Hawking show where the helicopter went above the lake or whatever? I made a video about that. That video, what's it called? Was it called Genius or something? Whatever the Stephen Hawking documentary
the one where
was.
They had the birds that went across twice, and the helicopter that was the wrong way or something.
They doctored the footage. They had they basically duplicated the footage of the birds going across and sort of overlaid the helicopter footage over the top. It was, I think, dishonest.
It was definitely.
Oh, it's refreshing to hear a baller actually admit that was.
I made a video about it a year ago, a year or two. So I'm happy to either make a video or come on and say it's wrong or whatever. But I do have to go and actually do my own analysis of it before I can do that, obviously. So Arctic Reflections and Simon Dan. So Simon Dan put out a video about it.
It was he mirrored. Well, yes, he did. He did about a 5-minute segment in his last video, where he basically agrees wholeheartedly with Arctic Reflection.
Cool.
Except they're completely wrong.
All right. Where are we? Apparently we should date Paige.
Hey?
It said, well, this is from Christian Kumar. Well, guys, that conversation between Ruhif and Paige, is it me? But they sounded like they were proper into each other, like on a first date. That is gold.
I felt those
my
vibes
God.
too.
I've spoken to you so many times, Ruhif. I don't understand. Okay, so I'm just supposed to hate your guts because you're a baller, and I'm just supposed to be nasty to you all the time. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I know. All good. All right, I'll go and watch these videos today, and hopefully by tomorrow I've got an answer.
Okay, I look forward to what you've got to come back with.
Mate.
Cool. All right. Have a good day. See you.
See you later. Well, thanks for holding the fort down. I'm interested now to know what you was actually discussing. Have you got a new boyfriend there, Paige?
Oh, yeah, this copper that stole my car yesterday.
A copper stole your car, right? Okay.
Yeah, I got stopped on the way home at a COVID stop on the highway where they were just checking people's licenses and asking them, like, where are you going? Because the highway between Bairnsdale and my place is the only highway to get up through to New South Wales. So you literally have to go past this checkpoint to go any further up north. And I thought, I was just desperate to get home. I hadn't been home, for more than 24 hours. I just wanted to get home, check on the cats and all that kind of shit. And just give him my license. I won't cause a fuss, So I handed him my license and he said, can you pull over to the side of the road, please? Well, that's a bit weird. He's not making anybody else do that. So I pull over to the side of the road, comes over and says, have you been drinking? I said, no, I don't drink. And he goes, have you been drug tested before? I said, yeah. He goes, okay, I'll be back in a minute. He comes back, does a drug test on me, goes away for 5 minutes, comes back with a breathalyzer in his hand. And I said, didn't get me for the drug test, eh? And he goes, no, but I got you on something else. And I just thought, you cunt. And I remember years and years ago, my license was expired and they gave me like 90 days to go home and fix it up. This guy goes, your license is expired, so we're impounding your car. And I just went, what the fuck? You can't just steal my car because I haven't paid your stupid license thing. Like, it's not even registered in my name, you know? And they just think they can do whatever the fuck they want. So now I've got the decision of, do I just, you know, cop it up the arse and pay it and get the car back, or do I go through all the hassle of convening a common law court and taking this copper to court and, you know, charging him personally for the theft of my car or my brother's car? You know, I mean, I'm lucky I've got another car here. It's not that, you know, it's not that I particularly need that car, but it's a collector's edition car. You know, my brother loves it, so it was, you know, it's kind of upsetting. They're going to probably charge me a few grand to get it out of being impounded, and all because he was so fucking pissed off that he didn't get me on the drug and alcohol thing, because my car's a hoon car, so I look like a real hoon. You know, I look like somebody who has just been to the pub, you know. And I was bummed. Didn't even have the dog with me. The dog had gone home with Adam earlier that morning, so I didn't even have my nice big German Shepherd to scare the shit out of him. I was so pissed off. Didn't like not getting me for being drinking or drugging. Wasn't happy at all.
Not good, Paige.
You said a few grand, Paige.
And you know what I said to him, Ranty? I said to him, oh, you must be so proud of yourself stopping a huge big criminal like me. And he goes, I never said you were a criminal. I'm a highway patrol cop. I don't deal with crime. And I went, my point exactly. You don't deal in crime. There's nothing criminal here. Like, my goodness. You just fucking admitted it.
You've been advised by Helen Degenerates to shut up. I don't know. But
you said it's going to cost you a few grand, Paige?
Yeah, a few grand. I mean, how much?
Yeah, it'll be a few grand.
Why would it be a few grand? I mean, how much is it? It costing for?
It'll be, you know, 900 odd for the expired license, and then it'll be, you know, at least 1,500, I reckon, for the impound fees. So I can't see me getting out of it for less than a couple of grand. Honestly,
it seems expensive. Here, if you it was license, your tags were expired, or was it your actual driver's license?
No, my actual driver's license.
Oh, that's like a $100 fine here.
Yeah, normally, like the last time it happened to me, I remember the copper just going, yeah, this happens quite a bit. You know, sometimes people miss the letter or whatever, don't realise. You know, it's not something you look at all the time, the date on your licence to see when it's expired. And I've moved quite a few times in the last just, you know, few years. So, you know, 15-year licence, God only knows where the renewal thing went. And, you know, just because I passed the drug and alcohol test and I was happy about it, you know, and I gave him a bit of stick, you know, you didn't get me for that, did you? You know, he was not fucking happy about that at all. It's like, man, you must have the smallest penis. Like, wow.
Small penis syndrome.
Yeah, what else could it be? Like, instead of being happy that one of his fellow citizens is not drug or drink affected when they're driving, instead of being happy about that, he was pissed off because he didn't get to make some money off me. Like that, what kind of person do you have to be? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's kind of shitty that they didn't give your brother a chance to get his car. You know, they punished him instead of you.
Exactly. So somebody who wasn't even there, had nothing to do with it. Now, yeah, they stole his car basically. And I know I will have a court case if I really want to. I do have the right to take him to court and charge him personally for this, because it is theft, because there was no crime, you know. So I've just got to decide now whether I want to go through with it or not, because, you know, to do the whole common law thing, I mean, I live in a town that's tiny. I would have to walk around the whole town and ask literally everybody in town if they would join me in a convening a court and all that kind of stuff. So it would be a big undertaking, but I'll contact the guy that does the common law courts up here, and I'll just ask him what he thinks, because they're very keen to get as many cases like this going as possible, so there's precedent set, so other people can see that, yeah, okay, somebody else got pulled over for this or this or this, and you know, they convened a common law court and they won. So, you know, he might say, yes, it's worth it for the sake of everybody else that this happens to, you know, in the future.
Well, you're not getting much sympathy from the chat. TN-Star78 says, you'll lose, don't go there. And Aaron Armstrong says, couldn't be more deserving.
Yeah, for doing the right thing and giving him my licence and not kicking up a fuss and not saying, you know, you've got no right to actually pull me over at all. For doing what I'm expected to do, yeah, I got shafted. So next time I definitely won't be doing what I'm expected to do. I'll be standing up for myself and telling them, no, I'm not giving you any licence. I don't need to have a licence. I'm not a citizen of your company. I'm not an employee of your company, and I'll kick up a fuss from the beginning. But because I did what they wanted and I tried to be quiet and nice and demure and just do as I'm told, I got shafted. So yeah, fuck that.
Okay, we were joined by the Rumpus. I would assume he's going to come off mute at some point. I believe he was doing his test today, so it'll be interesting to know what that showed if he was doing this live stream. Does anybody know if he did that? I guess not. So I got a bit of a frog in my throat tonight.
That's not a good place to keep your frogs, Randy.
I know. Well, it's getting close to winter now, so I need to keep them close.
Oh, okay. Keep them warm.
Keep them warm. That's it. So Bob's on your side, though. Bob's on your side, Paige.
Oh, thank you. That's nice to hear. I mean, I don't care what anyone thinks. I don't need anybody's sympathy. If I have to pay for it and get the car, well, it's only money. I don't care. I've got enough. You know, it's the principle of it that bothers me. It's that I know the only reason he impounded that car was because he did not get a positive result on those 2 tests. And that, to me, shows me he is not in it to help the public or keep the public safe or anything like that. He's in it to make money.
He should not be a police officer. He should not be granted authority like that. He doesn't deserve it.
Exactly. Because he wasn't happy that one of his citizens, you know, wasn't drug affected and drink affected. He didn't come back to the car and say, you know, oh, thank you, you know, it came back negative, you're all good, see you later, just by the way, hurry up and pay your licence. You know, no, he got pissed off, and that's wrong. I don't care who you are, that's wrong.
Rumpus is back. Did you do your test?
Hold on. No, if I'd done... sorry. I've just been practicing my live streaming. Hold on. No, if I'd done my test, you're going to get a couple of weeks of promotion for it. So you can expect a plethora of videos about how
media blast.
A media blast of an observation. Wow. Do you know something? Us flat earthers, we do that, and it goes very under the radar. But why would you need a 2-week blast of this one observation?
Well, it's going to be an extravaganza. I've got about 8 people doing presentations on it, and I want to say to people you can expect a whole day's worth of entertainment, as well as the observation, presentations and pre-recorded videos. I've got people like Cortus doing a Robotham presentation or part of his video on Robotham, because that's obviously relevant because he did a similar test. I've got George doing presentations showing how Bev being an idiot and why his attempt. I mean, if you remember, he said he wanted to go there before me and show that the thing was flat using his idiotic method, and I've got George going to do a presentation on showing how Bev's an idiot.
Well,
because George, etc., etc. So there's lots of. Hopefully, it'll be a day's worth of entertainment, and there's quite a lot of. And I've had a problem. I've had a slight problem with getting a video producer. The one I was going to use, unfortunately, is too busy because they spent the last 2 weeks being very, very busy teaching people in the university, and he can't do it really. So that's put that, and so I've had to do a bit of that. I've got someone else to substitute, and just doing this sort of thing, preparing the live stream actually has been, and all the live streaming issues have been is equally demanding as the building of targets and finding the finding location took me bloody 2 weeks and a bit. So don't worry, you will get lots of notice for it. It will not be furtive, and the whole point is that anybody, I mean, you say you think you can invalidate or whatever, the people will be able to interact with it while we're doing it and say, oh look, you're not thinking about this or something, and then we'll be able to say, or perhaps respond to it and do something different in response to what people are saying. I've got about 5 people who will be monitoring the YouTube chat, be responding to questions and etc., and responding to requests. And if I get a moment, I'll do so as well. But I'll have some people dedicated to doing that very thing, as well as my video producer, who will be sending about 3 or 4 streams to YouTube.
Okay, so can I make a prediction? And I would like you to make a prediction too, as well. So if I make a prediction, you make a prediction, and then we can see which one is closer to reality. My prediction will be that it will be closer to a flat Earth proof than a globe proof. In other words, standard refraction will not cut it. You will have to go to more than or greater than standard refraction for the observation. That will be my claim. So my claim is very simple. Standard refraction won't cut it. You will need greater than standard refraction to make the mathematics work.
Right. Okay.
Right? That's my claim.
That's a good solid. Pardon me. That's a good solid mathematical scientific claim. So that's a surprisingly good effort from you there, actually. So yeah, okay, that's.
And what's your claim? What's your claim going to be?
Well, there'll be a refraction effect, but assuming it's not something I'm going to catch, like one of your, your observations across the barren furnace. I still haven't got around to analysing them, where you seem to have some shore-to-shore stuff, which is a sort of circulating ray type thing on a regular basis. But that's because you've got some cold water and warm air. So that's yeah, I still haven't analysed your barren furnace stuff, which is interesting that you've got that. But the normal ones, like the Isle of Man observation, most of the other observations we see in videos, except the Black Swan, of course, and a couple of others like that, they generally show standard refraction. But the standard refraction, so for instance, I'm predicting if it follows the geometry, and I've got my furthest target about 9.5 kilometers or something, but I may pull it slightly closer to the observation point. There'd be a drop of about 6 or 7 meters, I think. I can't remember the exact numbers now. And obviously standard refraction will cut that a little bit by perhaps a meter or so. I haven't actually even checked the numbers on that. So the majority of the effect will still be drop. So if you're saying, on a flat Earth, obviously there should be it should be perfectly, the target should be at the same horizontal as the thing, not allowing for refraction. There should be the same as the observer position. So when I set up these targets, I'll be drawing an auto level there and a water level as well. We're getting the water level. I'm getting built by somebody to calibrate the auto level, and I've also calibrated the auto level separately. But anyway, you'll see through the auto level where it thinks the horizontal is, and there will be a much bigger drop than say a meter. So the refraction will make it smaller, but it will still be a vast drop, I'm predicting, than it would be on a flat Earth, where there would only be, with refraction. Well, of course, refraction would make a flat Earth seem concave, though the refraction effects on a flat Earth are somewhat less than they are on a spherical Earth, just the way that the light works. But you would still get some sort of effect, and the effect would be on a flat Earth standard, the normal refraction that we exist as a result of the normal temperature profile, would actually make the Earth look concave. So your prediction, so in other words, I'm saying the drop will be much more significant than any refraction effect. So I will still get the predicting if it's a normal day, but obviously there can be weird days. I mean, you can get mirages and things, but if it's a normal day, then the drop will be much more significant than the
Okay, so
than the refraction.
the mirage. So the inferior mirage, if we see an inferior mirage, where should we calculate the supposed horizon to be in relation to the inferior mirage?
Okay, well, I did try and explain this the other day, but I was very tired when I was on here last. The inferior mirage won't be in the calculations. I tried to explain to you, but you weren't interested in listening, because we're not going to be often hidden here. Well, hold on, let me finish the sentence. Jesus Christ. Because we put in the target above and we're measuring it against the horizontal. So the hidden doesn't get involved in this calculation. It's how far below the horizontal the target will be. And that's just a function of drop. It's got nothing to do with hidden, and we'll be above. I mean, I'm assuming here we'll be above any inferior mirage, because that's the whole point of doing it on bridges and having a nice high target that's about 20, 30 feet, 30 feet high, I presume I'll have to stick up if it's a globe. That will be above any inferior mirage. So, for instance, when I went there, whenever it was 2 weeks ago, I did get a bit of inferior miraging, and then I actually sent off my sister there about a week ago, and she said the refraction conditions were such that the inferior mirages were a little bit bigger. But nonetheless, the whole point of this experiment is to avoid the issue of inferior mirages by having the targets nice and high and having the observer point nice and high, and I do not believe the inferior mirages will be obscuring the target, and so hidden doesn't get involved in this calculation.
Okay,
you're measuring.
So I understand what you're trying to say. You're trying to say that you're going to line up the horizontal through the auto level, and then you're going to look through that, and you're going to calculate based upon the visible dimensions of the board that you will have at the distance, and calculate how much of that has dropped. Yeah.
No, we'll see it. We'll
but you'll be able to calculate it.
Yeah, so I'll raise the target up to the point where it crosses the auto levels horizontal. And then I will be at the target, and I'll be able to say, oh, look, I've had to raise this target up by 20, 30 feet to make it match the horizontal for the observer position 6 miles in the other direction. Okay.
So, right. Of course, you do realise there's going to be a lot of skeptical people about when you're saying, when you're putting this together at the end and saying this matches this, and we told them to lower it down, and this was the calculation that we had to measure it down. Are you going to have?
There's no calculation.
Are you going to have? Wait, no, just let me finish.
You keep on talking about calculation.
Are you going to have? Are you going to have 2 live streams going? One from the side where the target is being lifted up and down, and one from the observer point. So correct. 2 live streams simultaneously. You're going to have that, and we're going to hear audio between the 2. So you're going to have the telephone calls on loudspeaker so that we can hear it through both. Okay. Okay, and right, that's fine. And you're also going to get the temperature gradient across that span.
Correct. Though I must admit that was in danger until about a week ago, until I discovered some new thermistors. I think, as I mentioned before, I tried to get some about a month ago, and the ones that George used on his one, and they're about £10 each. And if I want to do a temperature gradient across about 10 meters, it would involve about £400 per thingy, and I wasn't prepared to spend that. And then I bought some really cheap thermistors, and George spent many hours seeing how accurate they were, and he established they weren't terribly accurate, because I need an accuracy of about 0.1, 0.1, ideally about 0.2 degrees or better, but these were about near a 0.5, and I didn't think they were going to be useful. And then I looked at some more thermistors. I just happened to say, I'll sod this, I'm going to have to give it, even though I said I was going to do the temperature profile, I thought, no, these aren't accurate enough, so I'll have to say I won't do it. And I thought that was a bit much. I thought, I had said I would do it. So I then investigated some more thermistors, And then I found some super accurate ones that was accurate as the really expensive ones, or just about, and they were 1/10 the price. So I'm back on getting the temperature profile, but probably I was hoping to do it between set all the stations between the observer and the 6 mile target. But to do that, I need a pretty accurate meter, and I need a meter that's about 50 quid.
Okay.
One, and I'm not prepared to buy 4 50-quid meters. I mean, I might do a GoFundMe on this, and if people want me to do that, I might say, look, if you want, I know that the live stream as well is a bit conditional on possibly getting some.
Are you going to do it at evening time as well?
No.
Why not?
Well, I know we talked about this about a month ago.
Yeah, why not?
Well, because I've got to break down an enormous amount of equipment, and if I do it in the evening, I'll never get back. I also have to drive.
Yeah, but such an amazing... Listen, and I hate to keep interrupting you and stop you in your tracks here, but listen, this test is being waited on by thousands of people, and there's a lot of people invested in this. And from the flat earthers' perspective, which is half of the argument, let's be honest, right? Flat Earth versus globe. Our argument is that at evening time, things are more settled and you will get a better result. Now,
well, I will. I mean, I'll perhaps go to early evening, but I mean, it's a 2.5 hour drive. 2 hours.
So you couldn't stay overnight. You couldn't stay overnight there.
Well, I'd have to. The breaking down the. I mean.
You couldn't stay overnight.
Me building up the equipment. It's probably going to take about 2 hours. I'll be there until.
How long have you been in this argument, Rumpus?
You mean generally the flat Earth debate thing?
Yeah. How many years?
Well,
a few. So we're talking about one evening, Rumpus. You could surely put yourself out for one evening.
If I have to build, if I have to remove, and also also stacking stuff on the car. I mean, when I tried to go there a couple of weeks ago with and just sticking the stuff on the car. And I've got a 2 5-meter, just one post is a 2 5-meter bits, and tying.
Truth is difficult, Rumpus. Truth is difficult, but you do realise it will be dismissed if you don't do the nighttime observation. Flat earthers will essentially dismiss it, and all you'll be doing is let me just finish. All you'll be doing is appealing to the globe Earth side, because you'll be doing it in the optimum conditions for this kind of effect to take place. My suggestion is that you do both a daytime and an evening observation, and you stay overnight. It's one night.
What do you mean by evening? What do you mean by evening?
Well, it depends on what time of, what time it goes.
I'm in the next couple of weeks. So what time do you mean by evening?
So, if sunset is 8 o'clock, then you would do it at 8:30. That would be an evening time. That would be after sunset, when things have had time to settle down just a tad. Ideally, it would be, an hour and a half after sunset. But, I don't want to push it too hard.
No, I think 8:30 is probably, might be that. Might be able to. I might go to just about that. It's just.
Yeah, well, if you did it, then you would get a lot more interaction with the flat Earth side, because we'd be able.
I think you're over-egging this completely.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Well, for a start, you don't know.
I mentioned this to you, a month ago when you first brought it up, that the evening time observation would be more settled.
And you don't know. What you don't know, I tried to explain it before, is that in the evening, I did. Yes, I went into some detail here. I've actually got a paper and George has found this as well from his own observations.
Papers aren't reality.
Oh my God! Can I finish? And I've got a paper that describes the behaviour of refraction during the period of the day, and in the evening, although it may seem as that's when it's more settled, that's actually when it's at its worst. And George found the same thing, that you get, due to the fact the sun's going down, that's the point where you have the most temperature change is actually in the evening. I mean, we know this when you go outside in the evening. That's why when you get dew forming.
Okay.
We all know. Hold on, let me finish.
I agreed with you. I just said okay.
I just finished the point.
I said okay.
We know from personal experience that's when the temperature changes most. Go ahead.
Okay, so would that also coincide with the also beautiful observations we get at evening, where we see shore to shore on almost almost every evening when we go out to do these observations.
Yeah, well, that is the most time when you get strange effects, is in the evening. That is when you get strange effects.
However, if you was to use the same equipment with the same temperature tools that you'll be bringing and the same highly motivated people that you would have there to perform this this operation, you could formulate both sides of the argument and debunk both sides of the argument simultaneously with those two sets of data, couldn't you?
No idea what you just said. That was gibberish. I'll just point out that scientifically we know that in the evening, as I can show a paper to this point, that it's and as George has found, that is when you get the strangest effects. And indeed, the observation that Anthony made of the Isle of Man when he got the shore-to-shore observation, again, that was in the evening, and you can see the change. I mean, when what's that guy who did the Chicago chappie observation? Again, in the evening, that's when you get the most weird refraction effects. So yeah, I mean, I say I will try and accommodate it, but I'm not going to go to the point of where I'm in the dark and trying to. I mean, I could pull down some of the targets, I suppose, and just leave the last one or something.
If you've got enough people helping you. You know, I mean, this should... Listen, yes, I know, but it's in the dark.
We're messing around with things that take hours to erect, and trying to pull it apart in the dark is quite tricky.
Okay, so hold on. Okay, so hold on. So you're talking about things that are going to take hours to disassemble, right? That's what I've just heard you claim. So when you do this live stream, I want to see equipment that's taking hours to put up.
You will. You'll see everything. Hours
to put up. Because if you don't do that, what you're going to do now is you're going to just... You're talking about raising and lowering things.
You must also allow for packing it on a car. I mean, I don't know... It took me...
Doesn't take that long, Rumpus.
Just to put... Well, 3/4 of an hour. To put one post and the... Because I have to carefully put this stuff on my car, and it's 5 meters long, and if a policeman...
Yeah.
Easily take some great interest in this. It's already, and if I have to put 4 poles and things on there, I have to pack this thing very carefully, and that will take me. That will just packing it on the car will take me an hour and a half, I suspect, just doing that bit of it. But I mean, we can have that on video as well. Yes, I mean, so you're not familiar with the refraction conditions that occur in the evenings, and that is when you get most changes.
Here we go. So I'm just laughing at somebody that just put something in the chat. Just bear with me. I need to shout this out because it's hilarious. Allegedly, Derek Griffiths says, "Did you know that Tate and Lyle, I think that's a sugar company, have so far paid myself? Wait for this." £21,342 in sponsorship this year so far, and that is just what is on their website. Woohoo! When am I going to get this money? When's it coming to me? I just can't wait. Allegedly, Derek Griffiths. I mean, if you can send the link, by all means. I want to see where this money is going to come from. Thank you, though, for telling me that I've got a bonus coming my way. Right. Anyway, Rumpus. I don't think it's going to take you hours to do this. Not with a group of people there that would help you, because
well, I don't know how long. I mean, I'm hoping they'll hang around, but I don't know guarantees of this. But I know for a fact that it took me nearly an hour just to get one post on my car, and admittedly I'll have to be more practical.
What? An hour to put a 5-foot post? Hang on, just hold on. Just hold on.
A whole weekend.
Just hold on.
I don't understand why you're just setting aside one night.
Paige.
Or one day.
Paige, one sec, Paige. 1 hour to put a 5-foot post on your car.
Listen, two 5-foot posts and securely, as well as some other measuring devices. To put that on securely, I mean, admittedly, I'd be better.
That would take me 5 minutes, Rumpus. That would take me 5 minutes to do that. That's how long it would take me. 5
okay,
minutes.
You show us that, Ranty. You show me.
Rumpus up.
You securing a 2 5
He
meter
uses
post.
those big ladders every day, Rumpus.
I want you. Show me
He
a
lifts
video.
those massive big ladders.
Be quiet. I want Ranty, you to show that, and you securing 2 5 meter posts and a pipe, not just a post.
A pipe.
5 meter pipe. And
Piece of piss, mate.
A 4-inch 5 meter pipe and a 4x2 post of 5 meters in length on your thing in a secure fashion in 5 minutes.
5 minutes. 5 minutes max.
Go on. Okay. Well, show us doing that.
Two bungee straps. Boom. Straight on the roof rack. Done and dusted.
Yeah. Absolutely. See, that just shows you're an idiot and you've never done anything like that.
Are you joking, Rumpus? Do you know how many Rumpus?
If you were to break just by putting bungee things on them,
You don't understand what bungee straps are or know how to actually apply them properly.
well, you need to put. If you're
You
gonna do it
can
properly,
twist them around the thing
you
to
need
stop
to
it
do
from
it
sliding.
He doesn't know, does
if you're doing
he?
it properly, then you need to have ropes on the ends to make sure it comes
You don't have
straight
ropes,
through.
Rumpus.
You do.
You don't necessarily need ropes.
Well,
You can also use the straps that you actually hand crank. You can use the hand. Hold on, Rumpus.
Secure the ends.
You can use. Hold on, Rumpus. You can hand crank the straps that you also secure down to both sides. But in general, just a pair of ladders on a roof rack. You only need 2 bungees. That's it.
Well, then you charge around at 50 miles an hour on a motor, or
50 miles an hour, 60 miles an hour over bumps doesn't really matter, mate. They're not going anywhere.
on a normal car.
Normal car with a roof rack on Rumpus, yeah.
Yeah, my partner has a roof rack with. He puts all kinds of shit on it and he uses those hand crank things.
How long is that ladder? I bet it's not.
Double 14s Rumpus. So you're looking at, that's 14 feet, double 14s. So 2 of them. That's what?
That's not 5 meters.
Yeah, that's 4 and a bit meters, yeah.
Yeah, it's not 5.
Oh my
The length doesn't make any difference,
He's made
Rumpus.
his point.
Well,
You're talking to someone that's been doing this for over 30 years, mate. But listen, I appreciate that and to be fair, I have to turn around and just bring it back a second. I was walking down to do a job. I was working. I was actually working on the doors some years ago, and I was walking into town to do my evening job, and I saw a fire in the distance. Didn't know what it was going on. Saw all the smoke coming out, and I saw 3 people trying to carry a pair of ladders across the road, walking down the road, bearing in mind, to try and get to this woman that was on the balcony. Had no idea how to fucking carry the ladders. It was ridiculous. I ran over, I grabbed the ladders off of them, and I ran with those ladders on my own, and I had them there in about 30 seconds. Those motherfuckers would have took about 2 minutes to carry it there, and I don't even know if they'd have been able to put it up. Absolutely ridiculous. So I've got to also turn around and say, you know,
I don't have any problem running with these things. That's not the issue.
It's handling them. It's handling them.
Yeah, that's not a problem. That's not the problem we're discussing.
I had no, seriously, no. Listen, I employed my friend last year to do some decorating with me, and I left him outside doing the external, and I'd put the ladders up for him outside, and he was climbing them. And what he did, he tried to move the ladders on his own, and I could hear him shouting. I was papering in the hallway, and I could hear him shouting. I thought, oh, what's he fucking want? You know what I mean? And he's calling my name, Shane. And I left it about a minute. I thought, I better go and see what he fucking wants. I went outside, and he's there, and he's holding these ladders, and they're almost falling behind him, and he couldn't move. He was stuck with these ladders almost falling into the road, and I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, I tried to move him, mate, I tried to move him. I'm like, what the hell? I just went up, picked him up, just lifted them up like they were a piece of candy, and just put them where they needed to be. And I'm like, but he goes to the gym and he works out, but he doesn't know how to handle ladders, right? He doesn't know how to carry them, how to lift them, how to move them, right? So I'm sort of defending you here in some way.
Well, that's his problem. No,
but when you turn around and say that I could not. Okay. Well, you just. Okay.
I do not have a problem lifting and moving.
Okay. I concede. Okay, Rumpus. I concede. Yeah. I concede, Rumpus. Yes, it's definitely going to take you an hour to put a couple of.
Well, if
you know,
do
things
like
on the
secure the
roof
ends,
rack.
I believe is a requirement to do things like secure the ends of these things in a secure fashion such they cannot shift whatsoever, then I believe there's it is involved. But anyway, that's just one of the damn things, and may have to put 4 of them on there, and time them securely, I believe. Anyway, so the point is that if I will go as late as I think as I can, but you're not aware of those other conditions in which you get strange refraction effects.
Okay, what happens if the
Obviously, that's what you're secretly trying to hope for. You're hoping that...
No, I'm not hoping for anything. I'm hoping for a
He's
balanced...
not making a secret.
I'm
out of
hoping
anything.
for a balanced observation.
Obviously, he think. I mean, obviously,
I'm hoping for a balanced observation.
One of the few things that Ranty may have learned in his life is that in the evening you do get stranger.
I'm hoping for a balanced.
And he's hoping that those sorts of effects will exist at that time. But I'm happy to engage with that, and in fact, I wish to, because of course, people like Nathan Oakley and Ranty, of course, in years gone by, has denied refraction is a thing at all, and will cause things to change their position. And I, of course, have been advocating this. So in fact, I would like to demonstrate there be a large movement of things during the day. And that's the whole point of doing this during the day. So I'm hoping that the changing refraction conditions will
God,
demonstrate.
shut up.
Well,
Yeah, I'm hoping.
Rumpus.
So it's information for
You just go on and on.
Here, Paige. Sorry
Right, so I'm
No,
hoping.
you're not giving information, you're just rambling. No, you're just rambling about how hard it's going to be for you.
So I'm hoping
No,
for.
you're not actually giving information, you're just saying it's going to take me so long.
Right, okay, so this is... I've muted them silently without them knowing. Yeah, so I'm hoping for a balanced observation here, a daytime one and an evening one. It's dead simple. You know, I mean, there's no point in just doing one during the day if you're not going to do one during the evening, and you can sort of like use that data to make something off of that. That's all I've ever done. Data. I put it out there, I give you all the information every single time. Nothing is hidden. There's no cherry picking that goes on. I show the good, the bad and the ugly. All I'm saying here to Rumpus is do the same thing. Doing a daytime and an evening one. I told him this a month ago and he was all up for the evening one a month ago. Now it seems he isn't. I wonder why that is. Because we know, as flat earthers, that during the daytime we get the most incredible amount of distortion that goes on. Just look at Skunk Bay during the daytime. At night time it's much more settled. Things settle down completely at night time, and Rumpus is going to tell you that has more refraction. I'm going to tell you it's just settled. It bounces around during the daytime, it settles down at the evening. Rumpus has never done these observations, he doesn't know what we're talking about. But I'm going to now unmute them and see whether they're still arguing. Let's see.
You've only just started to understand the merest basics about refraction. You've been in denial for years. I understand it intimately. You know nothing, you're an idiot, you're a moron, and what you do is just take photographs. I understand.
Probably the only thing you've gotten intimate with, eh, Rumpus?
Well, okay, that's also a useful contribution. I'll tell my girlfriend about that. I'm sure she'll be, if that's the point you're trying to make.
Just let me address Aaron Armstrong there, who says that I do not do day and night observations, neither does any FE. I will absolutely disagree with that. Do not believe a single word that he has just said. You can check my channel. In fact, probably half a dozen of the last 15 videos that I actually put out about these observations were done at night time, Aaron Armstrong. Yeah? At night time. Suck on those.
Change during the day, and particularly are prone to be odd in the evening.
Right. Sorry, I'd not heard what you were saying then, because you just went into an argument state. So, have we agreed a nighttime observation is on the cards or not?
Depends on how long it takes me. When I'm erecting it, I will have some idea about how long it takes me to remove it. But I'm not going to, in the dark, I'm not fancying trying to find all the bits of equipment.
He's scared of the dark, Ranty. Poor thing needs to go home before it gets dark.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's the reason, Rampage. Well done. But I will try and do it.
Well,
as late
anybody
as I
else
possibly
would
can.
have taken more time and made sure they got an observation in every condition they possibly could, spent the whole weekend there and really made an effort. It sounds like you just want to do the least amount possible just to confirm your bias.
What effort have you done about anything, Paige? What have you done at all about anything? Nothing. You're a moron, you don't do anything, all you do is carp and make stupid comments. Well done. This has been this is a lot of work's gone into this by many people, and the fact that you think you're in a position to criticise it as me not making efforts absolutely just contemptible.
I think what Paige is trying to say is...
If there's that much effort going into it, then you should have made it for the whole weekend.
Okay.
You should have done it properly.
Double the amount of effort in it. Why not?
Okay,
you need to do it
Rumpus.
properly.
Right, okay, so let me...
Not a half-assed effort.
It's not half-assed.
Right.
It is half-assed.
Nothing has been done like this.
You're only doing it during the day. You're not going to do it. It's half-assed.
Right, let me...
I'm streaming this event, and you will be able to see in what goes on and the amount of effort that is required.
Rumpus. I just want to reiterate the amount of promotion that you've done to this, which, to be fair, it's great. I'm all up for promoting channels, for doing this kind of research. I love that kind of stuff. That's what I do here. It's all about the research, mate. So you've gone into a lot of detail about what you're going to do and how you're going to do it and all the stuff that you've bought and all the people that are going to go down there. And I think Paige is absolutely right that if you're going to do this and you're going to make such a hoo-ha about it, which, to be fair, you need to do, you need to drum up the interest in it, you definitely need to make a balanced observation of daytime and evening time to do that, which means that you are going to get any validity to your argument, you have to get the flat earthers on side.
I would never get the people like you are too stupid to understand. You'll find
so you're already going with a preconceived idea to go during the daytime, and that's it.
I don't even know why we're entertaining him, Ranty. He obviously has no intention of doing anything.
I will go as late as I possibly can, and if that turns out to be after dusk, then that will be fine. But I'm going to have to.
Can I make a prediction? Another prediction.
There's a lot of equipment that move around.
I will make.
I do not want to be doing that in the dark.
So, I will make another prediction.
So scared of the dark.
I'll make another prediction right now.
I'm scared of leaving.
It's called a spot.
Okay. So whilst they two get into this argument, I'm going to make a prediction. My prediction is that the Rumpus will not do any more observation than is necessary than during the day, which means that he will not, in any way, shape or form, do a single piece of observation down at this test past sunset. That's my prediction. So whatever time sunset is on the day that he actually does this, he will not stay along and do any kind of observation or test or any kind of measurements past that time. 100%, that's my prediction. If he proves me wrong, great. That will just shut me up. But as a flat earther and having been in this arena for as long as I have, we also know the deception that goes on with the globe, and he was told this a month ago that he needed to do observations at night time, and he agreed with that actually. In fact, he was very complimentary about the idea of doing it. Now it's a big hassle. Well, if you've been in the arena for 4 or 5 years like the Rumpus has, maybe longer, then one night to stay a little bit longer after putting all this effort in, to actually finally nail it to the coffin, to get this data, you would think that he would want to actually just go that extra mile to do that. But if he's only going to get confirmation bias and create a false narrative that supports his argument, then he's only doing it to continue this argument, because realistically he should be going and collecting the data from the two points, daytime and nighttime. It's as simple as that. That would be what somebody that was honest would do. But we shall see. That's my prediction, that he won't do an observation past sunset.
if you want to do this, you should do it properly.
Required, and I will try
Yeah,
and do
yeah,
much.
exactly. The level you
It's
can do it
already-
to. We know.
It's already
Yeah,
something
we
that's
know.
not been done before,
You're only going to do it to
not
the
been
level
done
you're
before,
capable of doing
and
it to.
and no
Exactly.
one that I'm aware of has done things like having these live thermistor temperature profile analysis at all. Closest was with George, but he didn't do that even on his. Jesus Christ, you love
Yeah,
giving
we're
out
only going to
jobs,
get
don't you?
his best,
Yeah,
Granty, not the best
you
for the
just
whole
sit on your
community or
arse,
the
you
whole.
just sit on your ass doing nothing.
We're only
That's
going to
right,
get his best.
You do that, Paige. That's the idea. That's good.
I will, Rumpus. I don't come out
Yeah,
saying
you
I'm
don't
going to do
anything.
these
Yeah, you
things
don't do
and then
anything,
do them half-assed.
You don't do anything.
Because I know
you
if
don't
you're going to do
anything
these
half-assed.
things, you should
You
do
don't
them
anything at all,
properly.
do you? You do absolutely zero.
And I don't need to. I know what the
So
world
you're happy
is.
doing zero. Yeah, you're happy doing zero. Excellent. Fine.
Yeah, but if you're going to do something, you should do it properly.
You carry on. Yeah, but you don't do anything properly. You do nothing. You do nothing properly, do you? That's what you do. Excellent.
Right, listen, you two are just arguing for the sake of arguing. Rumpus, I made a prediction in the chat. I did.
Oh, well, no.
You probably didn't hear it, so no, you won't see it. Because I just muted you guys for the audience's sake, not to each other. My prediction was that you will not do an observation past sunset.
Okay, you can make that prediction. Fine.
And I would definitively say that that is the case, because I can already tell that you just have this ambition to go along, get your confirmation bias during the day, walk away, pack up, go home.
You'll do it out of spite now. You'll not do an evening one just out of spite.
You ignore the observations during the day. Is that your position?
What I'm saying is that unless you get a balanced set of data, then you cannot formulate a conclusion from that.
During the day, then is that right? Okay. Well,
no. What I'm saying is,
you're just going to ignore all the evidence of the observation.
No. Did I say that?
That's not what he said.
Did I say that? You're putting words into my mouth.
You may not have said it, but that's effectively what he's saying.
If you remember a month ago when you first came on.
No, he didn't say it. It's not effectively what he's saying.
If you remember a month ago when you first came on, I mentioned doing evening observations.
You did.
And you were quite excited about the idea.
But I hadn't considered. It's only when I found the practicalities of breaking things down and building things up, and how unbelievably exhausted I'm going to be, that I became less keen on the idea. If I could do it.
However, I could also. All right. Okay. So let me speak for 30 seconds without you interrupting. So I could also argue on the other side of the coin. Since that time that we've had this discussion a month ago, you've looked into the nighttime observations and seen that we see pretty much shore to shore almost every time. And you've now, which you did say earlier on, said that these observations at nighttime are suspect to super duper looming. In which case they will give these effects that you see shore to shore, which is, from a flat earther's point of view, perhaps the reason, not the fact that it's just logistical, but the fact that you just don't want to do the observation at night time in case it shows this effect.
I would very much like to do it. I want to demonstrate the refraction effects. I would very much like it if it did do some strange things. But doing the things I've done with this thing so far, I've demonstrated that everything's considerably more difficult than takes a lot more effort than one might like. And I'm not going to. I like to say things that I'm going to do, definitely. And if I'm rather than just committing myself to something failing, I regard my word as my bond. And if I say I'm going to do something and then I fail to do that, would be annoy me. So I can't say I will do it, but I would very much like to do it. I can assure you it's something I would very much like to do. That's why I was enthusiastic about it. If I could, have lights and things on these things and show the effects, I would very much like to do that. But then in the dark, I've got to run around a field, dismantling this stuff, and then packing.
Oh, for the 10th time.
Five or six.
Okay, right. Let's change subject.
20-meter poles in the dark, as well.
Yeah, we're going to hear about these 20-meter poles again.
20-meter poles. Hold on. 20-meter poles.
Combine the two 10-meter bits. I'm trying to simplify it so your small brain can understand it. I've got two 5-meter elements. Sorry, I've got. Okay, you're right.
What? What?
Right, no, I was wrong there. Okay, I'll take that back.
You're never wrong, Rumpus.
You're right. I'm never wrong. That must be
Well,
right.
that's what you said.
Yeah, but you were wrong just then.
No, it was when I said 210 meters, I meant the individual longest bits are 5 meters, but I will have 4 of them. So I will have 40 meters worth of posts and pipes that I'm going to have to deal with and pick it on my car. Well, actually,
Basically, you just have 4. You have 4 lengths of wood that you have to put in the car. That's it.
Well, it's pipe.
Pipe.
Yeah, unlike
Pipe.
you, I like to have it secure there. I like to do it.
It takes 5 minutes, mate. It really does.
He's gonna have more wrapped up, like way more than he needs to. He's gonna spend hours writing these things down and doing all this shit that he doesn't need to do.
He's going to staple them down to the car, top of the car.
Yeah.
He'll have a nail gun out.
On your car, I will say, look, when they come to wiggle it, I'll say, look, it's really super secure. There's no way is that going to come off. And even if I were to brake fiercely, I'm not relying on it being strapped down. I've actually got ropes to secure it. So I mean, if it cannot possibly
How
go
the
off
hell
my
do you
roof rack.
drive?
Exactly, man. I mean, seriously.
You're worried about braking fiercely and things for what? How do you drive? My goodness.
If you've got a post on top of your car that weighs about 20 kilograms and you brake fiercely and that leaves your car and hits the car in front, then you're going to be seriously in trouble. And
That's what I'm
not
saying.
going
How
to
do you drive? That you would ever need to brake fiercely when you've got something like that on your roof? Don't you put a little bit of extra distance between you
Yes.
and other people when
But
you're
I
driving
have
with
to allow-
with stuff like that
I
on your
have
roof?
to allow for possible things that can go wrong.
Okay, Toady UK says that. Hold on, Toady UK says, tell him you need bungees, not ropes. Hello, Rumpus. What did I say to you
That's what he
15
said
minutes ago?
before.
Did I not just say bungees? Hold on. Did I say bungees? Did I say bungees? Did I say bungees? Did I say
You
bungees?
did, and I tried it, you twat. Listen to what I'm saying. And I was not happy with the secure nature of it. And if you were to brake, and with something of that weight, just sitting with a bungee on it, I'm convinced
The
it would leave
bungees
my car.
are what
He doesn't know
everybody
how to tie a
uses.
bungee.
Yeah, you don't know how to tie
He
it.
obviously
I
doesn't
do.
know how to use a bungee properly.
I've spent years camping, Paige. I know exactly how to tie it. But-
Yeah, okay. Well,
when you've got a
But Rumpus,
post,
if you've been tying it wrong from the very beginning, then you wouldn't know.
You've
So
no idea.
instead
You've
of
no
instead of taking advice from somebody who puts
You've
heavy
no
things
idea.
on his roof all the time,
If
you're
you
just
were
going
to
to
see-
double down and act like a twat.
do you know what a 4x2 is?
yes.
Right. If you have imagine 5 meters worth of that,
Yeah.
and imagine what that's like leaving your car and hitting
4x2s are a piece of cake. You can lift them up with
Why
one
would it
finger,
raise the
right?
Yes, I can lift them, Ranty. I
Yes.
do not have a problem lifting them. I
They're
can
not.
lift them above my head.
They don't have a lot of
No
mass.
problem.
They
But
don't
what
have
I
a
want to do
rumpus.
is to leave
Rumpus.
my car and
Rumpus.
keep
Can
the
I
car
say
in front
one
of me.
thing?
Just
Can I
let
say
me.
one thing?
Just one
Can I say
sec.
one
Just
thing?
one. Yeah, you
The
can.
best
Just
thing-
one sec. One sec. Listen, 5 meters of 4x2. Right, you could lift them in one finger, each individual piece. Right, the bungees, the
Ranty,
bungees,
I
the
want to see you do that, Ranty. I want to see you do it with one finger.
right. Okay, I'll tell you what. I've
I
got.
want you to do a video.
It's a
with
bit.
one
It's a,
finger.
Oh,
I
shut
don't
up.
just mean lifting up an end. I mean lift.
yeah, I'll lift it. I'll lift it from the middle, Rumpus. I'll balance it on the middle finger. How's that?
Yeah.
Yeah, not a problem, mate. I have very strong hands, mate. Very strong
so do
hands. Okay, Rumpus. Yeah, type away.
Ha!
Anyway,
I'd like to see you give Rumpus a handshake, Ranty. I reckon you'd crush his hand.
fuck me. Nobody has a game of.
Ranty.
Nobody has a game of peanuts with me. I had a game of peanuts with this fucking
I
6'4" guy, 6'4". What's he called? Doorman. Worked on the Blue Room, right? And I was talking to my mate outside, and he was talking about playing peanuts, and he says, "Oh, peanuts." Yeah, and my mate said, "Yeah, he's never been beaten." I said, "All right." He said, "I'll have you a game. I'll have you a game." He said, right? Within 5 seconds of me having this game of peanuts with him, he was on his knees and he was fucking peanuts. And I went, "So all right, okay, I'll let go."
Awesome.
He went, "I didn't think you'd be that strong." I said, "Yeah, well, yeah. I've fucking worked
Yeah,
with
when
my
you
hands
use your
my
hands
entire
like that every
fucking
day.
life,
Yeah.
every fucking day, man. Right? Anyway, point is that yes, I could Rumpus, and the point is that you're just crying over some non-imaginary movement of these fucking pieces of wood that are not going to move off your car with bungees if you put them on properly. Right? Right the hand, please. Go ahead.
Bro, the better than rope, better than bungee, get ratchet straps. You tighten
Yes.
them down with a
Yeah,
ratchet
ratchet
action.
straps.
Yeah,
If you
that
you wrap it around the wood, then wrap it around the roof rack. It's not going anywhere. Strap it down.
Yeah, but
If
even
you're
I've
moving
got
anything,
something similar to that,
rack.
and you've still got the possibility of them going forward under severe braking conditions. And I want
If
to have
you can't
ropes on the
ratchet
end of
strap
it to stop
wood,
that happening.
you're not going to be able to set. If you can't even attach the mechanism to your car, I don't think you're even going to be able to achieve what you're trying to achieve here, Rumpus.
Well, you're an idiot. Who cares what you think?
I mean, it's pretty obvious. If you can't even get over the first challenge,
God's
which
got
is
some great
strapping
rebuttals,
the
doesn't he?
mechanism to your car,
Well, he's an
how are you
idiot.
going to how are you going to do the second challenge of assembling it by
I have
yourself?
assembled.
Come on, you can't even get
By
the car,
myself.
Rumpus.
I've assembled this.
You need help.
I have already by myself in my garden. I've got videos of this. I've assembled this thing.
It's going to look like the
Oh.
lunar lander, all bits and pieces
Oh,
of shit all
dearie
just
me.
stuck together.
Seriously, have you got anybody there that can erect stuff, that's actually competent in lifting things and moving
I'm
things?
competent.
And oh my
And I will
god,
have help.
an hour to put fucking those four. Oh my goodness. Oh my.
Hey, whenever you guys say 4x2s, is that the same as like in the United States? We would just call them a 2x4.
Two before, yeah.
Yes,
It's just
Yeah,
a piece of
2x4,
wood that's
yeah.
2 inches by 4 inches.
Yes, that's
Yes,
it.
right.
Piece of
Yes,
piss.
I know.
It weighs
And
about.
he's,
It weighs about £7 in total. Five
I know what a
meters.
2x4
Yeah, it's
is.
not. It's not
He's
heavy.
complaining about putting 4 or 5 of those on his car.
4 of them
Yeah,
on the car,
yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm laughing
That's why
at.
we're laughing.
Yeah.
That's why
Bro,
we're
a 15-foot 2x4 is going to be bending.
Yeah.
One side's going to be on the bumper like a U, bro. I don't think 15 feet, man. Like, I have a truck, and me
Yeah.
taking 12-footers is a little.
Do you know? I was going to advise him to put to get a pair of ladders, to get a pair of 12-foot ladders. Just strap that down to the roof rack, and then lay all the pieces of wood across of it,
Lay
and that
on
way,
top,
that way,
yeah.
that way they won't bend and they won't flop all over the place and snap on the way there.
Yeah, you've got metal underneath them.
Yeah.
That's real good.
Well, I've got ropes attached to them, and they seem quite happy to me.
Oh
They're
my
not really
goodness.
dangerous snapping as it stands.
Are you kidding? Right. So the
Granny knots.
I've sorted that out already. No, so I don't need any help
Dude.
on that department.
dude, right? Listen, the roof rack that you will have on your car is
You need
probably
help in
about
every department.
it's probably about 3 foot between each. You'll have two midpoint, two parts that cross the top of the roof, yeah, where you actually get to lay these stuff on, which means that you're gonna have around about 6 or 7 feet hanging off each end, flopping around, 4x2s, right? They're not that thick, right? They're gonna be bending and flopping all over the place,
They
right?
don't if you tie them down properly.
Well,
You're
it
an
dep-
idiot if you think they flop around. That's
Well-
exactly what I've been avoiding.
my advice would be to put get a half a piece of a 12-foot double, so you get 12 foot of a single piece of aluminium. Put that on top of your roof rack, and then strap the pieces of wood to that. And that way they won't be flopping around and bouncing everywhere.
If
You can
think
have
a
that
2x4 flops around, then you're an idiot.
A 15
I don't think you've ever.
15 foot.
foot one will. Absolutely. bro. I
It's more than
can't
that.
before.
16 and a half feet, because it's fucking 5 meters, mate. 5 meters. 16 and a half feet of 4x2,
It
right?
does not flop around if you.
How
tie it
long
right.
is your car?
Sideways it does, bro. It
What kind
does
of car
sideways.
have you got?
I've got the
Absolutely.
damn thing. I put it on my car. I've erected it exactly. Moved it around as well. I know exactly what it does.
Just
It
cut them
does
in
not
half.
flop.
I don't even think you've had them on the car.
Well, okay, you can think that you're a moron.
In fact, I'm 100% sure that you haven't, because if you're going to tell me that you've put them on the car, right, and they are not flopping, you're talking out of your
Yeah, if
arsehole.
car's
Not
nowhere
if
near
you
15
tie
feet
them
long.
down. Not if you
Even
tie
tied
them
down, they're going to be in that U shape.
Where do you get these? Where do you
If you
get?
haven't got a
I
truck.
don't think you know what a 4x2 is or 2x4.
I know what a 4x2 is. Where did you get it
How long's
from?
your car?
Yeah, where did you get this 15 meter? Where did you get this 5 meter 4x2? What shop did you get it from?
Travis Perkins,
Okay, how much was it?
£14.50, I think.
£14.50 for a 4x2 that was 5 meters in length, and you strapped it onto your car. You didn't get it delivered.
No.
You strapped it onto the car. You went into the shop and you put it onto your car immediately.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. And there was no floppiness on it.
No.
If you have them up and down, they won't.
What is it, reinforced with metal or something?
On that occasion, I did use bungee jump, but given the fact that I was 400 yards away from my house, I was happy to go along at about 10 miles an hour and go from the Travis Perkins to my house. But I would not go along at 60 miles an hour in that condition, just using bungees.
Right the hand, you buy a lot of wood, yeah? I know that. Tell me, what's it like, these 4x2s, once you get to like anything plus 10 feet? You know,
so he's using 16 footers, right? Those 5 meters, that's about a 16 footer. I've taken those right in my truck. If you have them, if it's like on a car, right? Even if you have them high, so their strength is won't bend, they're going to want to go up and down with a tremendous amount of force, right? Like they're when they would pop up into my window, right? Even when you're slow to a bump. So like he's going to need. It's very hard to transport long wood on a small car at high speeds. You know, like it
That's
really.
That's why I'm using ropes to make sure this.
So would you advise putting like an aluminium ladder? You know, half of the ladder, you know, half piece underneath, you know, on top of the roof rack that's maybe 12 foot in length, so it supports almost all of the sag and the weight of the wood. As I would do, having done this for 30 years.
Well, the mounting points. I mean, my roof rack's quite long, so I mean, and perhaps there's an issue here. You're thinking there's some very narrow roof rack.
How long's your roof rack, Rumpus?
Yeah, how long is the roof?
Yeah, that's why I asked you how long your car was.
Yeah, you were asking.
No, how long is the support?
The car is about 4 meters long.
How long is the roof rack?
And the roof rack, I must admit, I haven't measured the distance between it, but what I do know is that
Does it stick out
3 or 4
over
feet?
the top of the roof, or is it a little bit shorter? Yeah,
No,
sticks out a little bit over the roof.
That's more, yes. And well, actually, the pipe that I initially bought was 6 meters long, and that stuck out about a meter behind and about a meter in front of my car. So
Hang on, is it pipe or wood that you're using?
I keep on telling you, but you just ignore the fact there is pipes, 4-inch pipes, and there is wood as well. And I've told you this about, I don't know.
Can you take a picture of this stuff
in this conversation? But
you
just
send
ignored it.
Can you just post a picture of the wood and the pipes? Like, you don't even got to include your car if you don't want to, but just the wood.
Well, in the next few days, I will be posting videos of the actual wrecked target in my garden, showing the pipes, and also on the ground where I've got the wood and the pipes next to it. So yes, you will be seeing that before I do this test. So you'll get an opportunity.
I'm telling you, Rumpus, I have a truck, and transporting 4 16-foot 2x4s, which I've done, was not easy, and I only went down the block.
Agree. Yeah, no, I agree. So
you might want to rent. You might want to rent one of the Home Depot flatbeds. It's like $20 all day.
Yes, because having these things sticking out about when I took the pipe down from 5 meters to 4 meters, I cut it. It is. I mean, the pipe flopped more than the 4x2.
There you go, Rumpus. You can sleep on the back of the flatbed. Stick a tent, a little swag up on the back of the flatbed.
It's going to make the whole thing go quicker. You'll just slide them on there. You'll strap them down. You'll drive off. You'll cut.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
The thing that made them nice and rigid was when I went to take them from my house to the site. I put ropes on them, so they were then super secure and they weren't flopping about at all. And they were flopping about very much to begin with, but they were flopping about even less when you started with ropes.
Okay.
I've drilled holes in the pipes and the 4x2 at the ends so that I can secure ropes and pass through it so it becomes super secure.
Okay, so let's
only tying the ropes around, they can come sliding through the ropes.
Well, I've got a hole in the end. I've actually drilled a hole in rope through the hole and at both ends, so then the thing is held rigid. It can't move in any way, shape or form in any direction.
Okay, so let's suppose that you're able to get the wood there, right? I think you've heard enough from us guys telling you that, you know.
Yes, we've done enough 4x2 or 2x4 chat. Yes.
So you're gonna get it there. And you're going to tell me that you have people, including yourself, you know, more to yourself, that's going to be able to erect these in next to no time? or is it going to take you a while?
When did I say that, you twat? I said it would take considerable time to erect it. My God!
This is what I'm saying. I'm glad that you said that. I'm glad that you said that, because do you know something? Let me just calm down a sec. So me and Right the Hand would probably, from what you've told us about the equipment that you're actually bringing, I would imagine that the two of us could probably knock that together in 30 minutes.
Well, I've got four stations intended. Well, also I'm walking to them. Unfortunately, some of them do not have great access, and there may be a mile walk for positioning one of the posts and pipes. So that's going to take some time.
Yeah, it doesn't take long to put things together. I mean, you throw them up in if you're used to lifting these sort of weights and handling this kind of stuff.
I can handle it, no problem. The lifting's not the problem. Well, actually, Ranty, here's something. Try erecting something that's 30 feet tall. Then show us a video of you doing that by yourself.
I've lifted. I've actually erected a set of triple 14s by myself that I had to hire from the Smith's Hire, because they don't hire them in doubles anymore. They used to
when you say
hire
erected it, you're not pushing up against a wall here. This is self-supporting.
So they used to hire double 18s, right? They don't do that anymore. At least I don't think they do anyway. So they did these fireman's ones that was like triple 14s, right? So if you've ever tried to hire these ladders from Smith's Hire, these triple 14s, and they're not just your light aluminium, these are seriously heavy metal. I would imagine that they're probably close to around about 16 stone for the whole set. And I lifted them to their full extension, and when they were still erect at their highest point, I walked them around the house upright on my own, right? On my own, upright, because I'm used to handling ladders and I'm strong. So yes, I have lifted things that are 30 feet, Rumpus.
But that's higher than a house. What house are you putting?
If you've ever done work in St Anne's, you will know the height of the houses up in St Anne's. Ansdell, St Anne's, Lytham, they are ginormous.
True, there are some bigger houses.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be very amusing for me to see you moving something that's nearly 30 feet tall.
I'll tell you what.
It'd be very amusing for us to watch you struggling with these too.
You will get a chance.
Well, I'll tell you what.
If the live observation goes
Thank
ahead,
you, Rumpus. If you
will
take yourself putting them all on the roof, that would be hilarious.
Anybody that's used ladders and works with them all the time can attest to, once you are able to handle ladders and know how to use them and move them and lift these kind of things, it becomes second nature. You can throw them around like nobody's business, and you can get the biggest, butchest guys that lift 150 kilograms, bench press 150 kilos, 200 kilos, those guys that come along and they can't even move them, right? And you're much weaker than them, but because you know how to move things and you know how to do them, you can do those.
Well, okay, let's see some evidence of this, Ranty. You keep on saying this. Let's see some evidence of any of
You
this.
grab them from the middle, and there's a certain way to hold the ladder. People,
Of course there is.
You try and just rest it on your shoulder, people think that, I'll just put it on my shoulder. No, it's got this little sharp thing. It's going to be digging in. You gotta balance it. It's like a waiter. You put it on your hand. You can kind of balance. I could carry.
I'll tell you what.
16-foot ladders.
I'll tell you what. Rumpus. I'll tell you what. Right, I'll tell you. Listen.
I've not been talking about you lifting up and moving around on your shoulder. I'm talking about you sticking up in the air,
upright,
30 feet up in the air.
Okay.
That's another part of lifting a ladder, dude. Is setting it up.
I'll tell you what. How about? All right, Rumpus. How about you and I? Right, I've got a hernia right now. I've got a hernia and I'm not supposed to work. I can't do shit. Yeah.
Very sympathetic.
Don't you dare do a dare with him.
I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll tell you what I'll do tomorrow. Right? If you're willing to make this bet, I'll go out into the back garden. I'll get someone to film me, and I will get let's say the double 14 ladders out, right? And I will erect them to the full length, and I will throw them around upright. Full length, 28 feet, no problem.
Yeah, Randy, I shouldn't really be. Yes, I don't want to.
How about that? No.
Don't encourage him.
How about that?
I don't want to encourage you to do that. Wait until you've had the.
How about no? But if I was to do that, would that then satisfy your belief whether or not somebody can actually lift things at 30 feet.
Well, I mean, I was able to do it, but I had to. I mean, what my fair, I had some guy ropes on it to help me when I actually lifted it myself. Actually, when it was hard, this thing of mine extends up, so I had it in the sort of 2/3 height position when I erected it, and I've got this post inside a pipe, and I mean, I lifted it successfully. But if it had been at full its height, I would have been worried about. Well, I suppose you've got a solid thing. I mean, this is something I've made. It's a bit more troublesome for me. I've got a pipe post combination, which obviously is not as rigid as perhaps your commercial, whatever it was you were saying, double 14 or whatever it was. You said was 30 feet high. And I don't want to encourage you to do anything that's going to. I shouldn't be encouraging you to do something that may cause you some.
Well, there's the thing. The point that I could actually go out and do that right now, or tomorrow, or whenever, even with a bloody, But let me just finish. Even with a hernia, right? I could do. Let me just finish. Right? That should show to you that what I'm trying to say is that it isn't a big deal for people that handle fucking ladders all day long. You could go out down to the builder down the road or the fucking roofer down the road and they will do the same thing. Or the window cleaner. The window cleaner throws ladders around all day long, right?
Yeah,
people that are used to it can do it, right?
There is a difference between just putting a ladder up against a building and erecting something that you're holding vertically.
Yes, you can handle it vertically.
Handling a very tall thing to balance it it's a skill, and there's more than a skill. It takes a very particular set of muscles.
Yes.
Your hand and your wrists and your forearms need to be very. Some people just cannot hold something strong horizontal. Like I work my hand strength very well. I can hold things that people they can't do it. Like they just don't work with their hands. It's just not a possibility. They can't handle the ladder because they don't have the strength to turn.
Well,
and
you don't get much strength in your hands from typing on a keyboard, do you?
No, but this is what I was saying, before about play. Do you know what Peanuts is? Peanuts is where you lock fingers with the opponent. So you each intersect.
Yeah, we call it
you
mercy
literally
here in America.
Yeah. So
we call
so
it
I've never ever lost a single game of Peanuts with anybody ever. Right? That's because I've been using my fingers and hands and I was window cleaning at 14, I had my own window cleaning round, and I've used ladders my entire life, right? I have strong fucking hands, right? And people underestimate the muscles that you've used in doing those kind of things for that amount of time. They don't realise how strong you get. Right?
I agree. Doing that sort of thing repeatedly does help you. Well, I'll give you an arm wrestle perhaps one day, Ranty, and then I'll sort.
An arm wrestle, I'm average at.
Bro, I arm wrestle this is like I'm standing at my arm wrestling table. Like this is what I do. Like you don't. So when you grab somebody who has never arm wrestled before, they have no idea the strength in the hand. Like they can try and overpower your shoulder and your bicep, but when your hand just twists their wrist back and bends, there's nothing they can do. Like there's two totally different muscle groups. I'm telling you, Rumpus.
Yeah, exactly. Well, if I get you in a hook, if I was to do you an arm wrestle and I got you in a hook, there's no coming back from that. You ain't going to turn my wrist, right? And once I've got that wrist control, you're fucked, mate.
Well, yes. Well,
see, listen. This isn't. We're only trying to just tell you.
This is
I am doing this, so I'm not saying I can't do it. I'm just saying that when you were talking about dealing with a ladder and
well, this all started because you told us it took you an hour to put 4 pieces of.
That was because I wanted to do it securely. I do not have a problem with manipulating these things. I just like to be safe, and I don't want a 4x2 or 2x4, whichever is the correct term, of leaving my car, leaving it any doubt. Some car when I brake in front of you due to the fact that someone at the front in front of me at 60 miles an hour has decided to brake for some reason, and they suddenly get 5 meters worth of 2x4 through their rear windscreen. That's all this really.
Well, that's why you were advised to use the ratchet system, which I also advised you to. I advised you to use that, and also the bungee. But you're on about ropes. Ropes, to be fair, are the least secure of the 3 that you were offered. Yes, they are.
I'm putting a hole through the ends of both ends, and so it cannot possibly, under any circumstances, move along the length of the car forwards or backwards. Whereas if you
You
have
can
just
get
something
one
that's
person
tying it
help you
down,
with it.
that still leaves the option of something sliding backwards and forwards under, under its weight if deceleration is large.
Just get
Whereas
more
that
people.
cannot possibly happen if you've got a rope through the hole in the damn thing, as I have, and stopping it from doing it.
I'll tell you what.
Rope with You never seen wood break? Expect wood, a large chunk of wood. If you have to break, is going to put a tremendous force on that. It might take your roof rack with it, dude.
Yes, that does worry me as well. Actually, yeah, the roof rack probably give
You
one.
rent a truck, bro.
Oh my
You're putting
goodness.
hundreds, if not thousands, of dollars of risk on your car when you can literally rent a U-Haul for $20 and beat the crap out of it. Just throw the wood in the back of it.
Yes, I mean, that's the one thing I have not put a number of things. I mean, the roof rack limit on my thing, I think, is about 100 kilograms.
100 pounds. Yeah, mine's
I
100
think-
pounds on a truck, dude. Those
Sorry,
woods
say again?
alone probably weigh 20. The 16-foot board 2x4 probably weighs 20 pounds by itself. So you're already double.
Yeah,
weight.
it's not heavy. It's not heavy though. Well, it's not heavy. Right, the hand. You could lift it with what? You could balance it on one finger, mate. Seriously, if you get the midpoint in, you could balance it with one finger.
Yeah, but it's still heavy. It's
Yeah,
it's
it's tough,
I think
but
when you're sliding
Actually,
forward.
I think you're right. Actually, it's about I think it's 10 kilograms. The
I've handled a lot of wood. I'm telling you, I know the weight of them.
I think you're right. Actually, I think that's about no, that's 20 pounds. Actually, isn't it? Sorry, not.
Yeah, you're 20 times 480. You're about doubling your roof rack's capabilities, man. Like you really should.
I did count.
no, he said 100 kilos, so that's 200. No, he said 200 pound at least on his roof rack.
I don't know. 200. I did a strong roof rack, man. Like I said, the one of my trucks rated for 100 pounds.
Well, to be fair, I mean, well, you know what this rating is. I mean, I wouldn't believe that. I mean, the roof racks that
you got a rusted bolt, it could be half of that.
You know, I mean, the roof racks that I've had a lot of ladders on my roof racks in the time, and they've never given way once yet. And the combined weight of them have been probably the weight of a human. Like 14 stone. So there's been
not the
some.
rump, though.
Yeah.
This mine's rated 100, just under 100 kilograms, which is well, I'm 90 odd kilograms.
Like 200
about my weight.
212 pounds, actually. I think it's like 2.1.
Those holes in the
Yeah, they could.
pipes, you've made them so they're not sharp, haven't you?
They're not sharp though.
So when was the last time you did some filming anyway? When was the last time you used the camera to do this observation?
When was the last? Well, I've made some videos of this thing in my garden of these things recently. So.
No, I mean you're gonna have a camera there, aren't you, to do this observation? To do the filming and stuff.
Which will be streaming live. Yeah.
Okay, so how much time have you used on this this camera? Because the last time we spoke, you'd never used it, or never used a proper camera
I got
before.
confused. I haven't live streamed with it before, no, but I have used a camera for many decades, as I explained to you several times. But I haven't live streamed with this.
How many times have you used a auto level?
How many times have I used an auto level? I don't know. 30 times, perhaps.
I hope you practiced all the stuff you're going to be doing that day, because the more
Yes.
there's a lot of things that can go wrong, and you should
Exactly
in your
right,
car.
right hand. You are absolutely correct. I think there's about 50 things that can go wrong, varying from my signal having a problem to me
have
putting the stuff there.
bring a
The
drill
fact
in
that
case you got to drill more
exactly
holes in the wood.
drills. There's a big power problem. I've got lots of measures to counter the fact that people's mobile phones will be expiring. The camera will need to be driven by an AC supply. But there are lots and lots and lots of things. To do an 8-hour or 6-hour, whatever it is, length live stream is very demanding on just power.
Right the hand. Do you think that he should also do some evening observations if he's going to this much trouble?
Yeah, I mean, I would, if I was going through this much trouble, I would do it like Paige and people said, do it over the weekend, because to take as much time to load the car. If it takes 8 hours to do all of the setting up, and then to get 4 or 8 hours.
No, it doesn't take that long to setting up. No, I'm imagining.
Yeah, but the
it's gonna take
driving
a
over
couple of
there,
hours.
the unpacking it, you should, and especially if you're doing observations, you should have days to compare, right? That's really what you want. You want Monday
That was
day,
my only
Monday
point.
night.
Yeah, just comparisons. Yeah,
Well,
and if you're going to take all that time to set up, you may as well have it set up for as long as you can.
Well, well, I can't ask people who are helping me to stay overnight.
Why not?
You can ask them whether they do or not.
Look, no one else has done anything like this before. This is going to be the most extensive and scientific-based test of this type that's never been live streamed before by anybody ever.
Exactly.
By George. So I mean, Jesus Christ, why not make? It's already a tremendous amount of work, and then say, oh well, you can just double the amount of work and ask people to spend a weekend doing it overnight. Spending God knows
you
when.
could have some kind of gathering that night, have a party, have a bonfire.
From people who are doing bugger all.
Why are you frightened of the night? Why are you frightened of the night, Rumpus?
You keep on saying that, you twat, and you know damn well I'm not. I'm more than happy to do it, you twat. If it's possible, you twat.
So why don't you ask the people that you're going with to do that?
And have all your friends sit around and have a few drinks and...
I'm not at all. I would love to do it, but I've got potentially problem. I will do it if I get the opportunity to do it. And you're just being an obnoxious twat by suggesting I'm not keen on it. I absolutely am.
Right, Toadie says, where is Rumpus going to do this, and why does he need to travel to do this? 2 questions. So, where are you going to do this, Rumpus?
Well, I was going to announce this on Conspiracy Cat's channel a couple of days ago, but unfortunately he wasn't able to do his broadcast on that day, and he's been inconvenienced by it. So that was the plan, to announce it on that, where I'm going to do it. When I'm going to do it is still within a couple of weeks. The number of people who can and do things is changing. Someone's girlfriend who was going to come along now possibly can't, and then their father's died, and then I was even going to go grabbing my sister, but she's having to do something with my mother and going to hospital and things. So, and other people now becoming available and then not available. So it's just
okay. But you did say.
Let me ask the question. So I'm going to reveal where it's going to be, intending to be in the next few days, hopefully on Conspiracy Chat's channel. When it's going to be is another matter. And what was the other question? Why am I having to travel? Well, because Toadie, I need a 6-mile length of canal, straight canal, of which there are a very, very, very few in this country. It took me a week and a half, possibly, I mean 2 weeks, to track down a suitable thing, and they are very few and far between. So that's why I have to travel to them, because they're not very, very frequent.
I just remembered, Cleary's last video has Bev's Bedford level observation shown in it, like the whole thing. So for anyone who's interested, that Bedford level thing is now out on Cleary's channel. So they show you, he had he was out on a little boat in the middle.
Oh, that was last year.
That's awesome, though. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yes, and he had the problem.
And then he's also got, they go through showing refraction. I can't remember whose website it was, but the guy did a flat Earth, what a sunset would look like on a flat Earth. And then Bev shows what he got with the sunset, and it's the exact same thing. It was brilliant.
You're talking about Bev's video of a year ago with Dr. John D on the Bedford levels. Is that what you're talking about?
There's two different ones. One is the Bedford level one, and then in the same video, Cleary shows Bev's observation of a sunset, and they go through.
Yeah, well, hold on. Let's deal with one thing at a time.
Okay, well,
levels thing.
Yeah, I was just giving you.
Yeah, I know.
Hold on. No. Just right. Listen. Listen. You did say that you were going to announce this a few days ago on this show, and you said that this information. No, let me on this show a few days ago. You said you were going to announce it within the next couple of days, and you were going to do it on Conspiracy Cat show, right? So it's been more than a few days, and you've just told us now that the Conspiracy Cat show had been postponed, cancelled, or whatever, so you weren't able to do that. So. Now, what I'm saying is, well, seeing as that was the original timescale to actually announce it, why not announce it now on this show so that we know where to go?
Because I want to announce it on Conspiracy Cat show. It's quite simple.
So it's the channel rather than the dates, or the that you do.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
He has to say it on Katz's channel to give him the.
I thought it was more of the case of exactly. See, you're on here now and have been. How many times have you been on Conspiracy Cats' show?
Like advertising rights.
How many
times,
Rumpus, have you been on Conspiracy Cats?
he and I have had a couple of hang-ups. Probably just
Hello, you just cut out then.
Just a couple of times.
I think.
Hold
yeah,
on. So
everyone's cutting out this morning.
hold on. So a couple of times. So you've been on Conspiracy Cats a couple of times, but you've been on here maybe 30 times, maybe 40 times. And you're here now, and this is a later date than the time you're going to do it on Conspiracy Cats. So, you know, are your allegiances with Conspiracy Cats more than here? I mean, is there a reason why Conspiracy Cats would need to be, you know, put to the forefront than this channel?
Yes, I like Conspiracy Cats.
Oh, you don't like me? Okay, fair enough.
Well, you're a malicious twat. You just demonstrated this earlier when you were saying, I mean, you say those sorts of obnoxious things, and you've done all sorts of obnoxious things to me in the past. What on earth should I
What obnoxious stuff? Okay, so list
Wow.
list the
Wow.
You accused me of lying on numerous occasions.
list me the obnoxious.
Well, okay, the most notable one was when I had that debate with Anthony Riley, and I was demonstrating he knew nothing about gravity, and you decided the next day to make an abusive video about me, and you seem to think I should ignore that and treat you as some sort of friend. You know, sod off, you wanker. I mean, George
Even though the fact that you were wrong.
To be nice to you. George makes the mistake of trying to be nice to you.
Okay, so even though you were wrong about your gravity bullshit,
who's ever been nice to you or Anthony, they always suffer yours obnoxious back.
do you always get a voice here?
Most of the time, yeah. I mean, actually, I have to say that you have actually been quite good at allowing me to speak in many ways, although you've muted me quite often when I've...
That might need to stop then, Ranty.
But generally,
He obviously doesn't appreciate it.
I generally have to say you have actually allowed me to have a voice most of the time, yes.
So you get a voice here. You get to...
That's for your benefit. You're not doing it for me. You're doing it because you want content, so don't give me any crap.
Nothing to do with content. You are, according to yourself, the most prominent, eminent, most respected, most qualified Glober. In fact, your words actually.
I've never ever said
your words.
anything like those words. I may have said
your words.
No, I've never ever said anything like that.
The video.
Yes.
No, the closest I've said to that is I am the most. I probably know more about refraction than almost any other Globers that do.
And then you went ahead and listed all the people.
I have never said I'm the most prestigious or the most eminent or anything like that.
Then you went. Hold on. Then you went ahead and you listed all the people on the globe side that you were better than.
No, I did not.
Yes, you did.
Yes,
you listed
you
them all
did.
off. You literally went through. Oh, you went through Slice Bar Kane to all the different people.
No, I think you were talking about this. I was talking about the fact on the subject of refraction.
Yes.
You asked that, so it's just the subject of refraction. This is not about just general eminence or prestige.
And when he was saying I'm always right,
Andy's always right.
100% of the
That's a
time.
definition. It doesn't make me prestigious. So I never said I was the most prestigious or eminent. I've said on the subject of refraction, I think probably Walter Bislin knows about as much about it as I do. But I think most other people, I would argue, that don't know as much about it as I do. But that's the only time I've ever sort of blown my trumpet in terms of mentioning other people who didn't know. That's the only time. And I've never said I'm more prestigious, more eminent, more notable.
You blow your own trumpet constantly, Trumpet.
On the subject of refraction is the only time I've ever mentioned other people and me knowing perhaps more than they do.
In any event, you've had a very fair crack of the whip here. You know, you've always been given you've always been given an opportunity to speak and an opportunity to present stuff whenever you've got things to present. I've allowed it. You know, we've argued over this, sure. You know, you've made claims here, sure. And obviously, you know, I'm not here. This isn't for the content. I'll still have a show whether you turn up or not. You know, that's the point.
He doesn't appreciate it, Ranty.
But I want your input.
He doesn't appreciate it.
Because I'm looking for the truth. So, you know, if you're coming on here to provide information for me, which you quite clearly did, I was then able to take that and extrapolate it to a flat plane, let's say, and show that on a flat plane we will get sinking, as opposed to looming on your model. So I thank you for that. I do thank you for that. Right, listen, let me shout out Gently's channel. Hold on. Right, let me shout out Gently's channel. Because he's made a prior arrangement, Ranty, why is there a problem? Right, okay, so he's saying that you'd already made a prior arrangement, which I can go along with, to be fair. You know, if that's the case, But what I'm saying here is that you've been on this show more than you've been on Conspiracy Cats. So, you know, I mean, I would think that if he's already let you down if he's let you down a few days ago, why don't you say it here? You know, where's it happening?
Because I like Conspiracy Cats. He's a nice guy, and he hasn't done all the obnoxious things that you've done, and he's not an idiot like you are. I don't come on here because I regard you as a friend. I come on here to tell you you're an idiot.
Even when, let's supposing that Simon Dan and
Well, you got it from the horse's mouth, Randy. He comes on here to tell you you're an idiot. It's got nothing to do with the truth for him. It's got nothing to do with, helping other people find the truth. He just wants to be an asshole.
That's fine. I did hear. I heard that, Paige. I did hear that.
Okay. Okay.
So
you say you're an idiot because you don't believe the truth. You're a science denier and a reality denier.
Okay, right, Rumpus.
Other people.
How about I was to say to you, Conspiracy Cats promoted Arctic Reflections video, which was wrong, and Simon Dan did a 5-minute segment or so on his last video, which was wrong. Would you be able to, like the Ruhif is going to do, stick up for me here and say that they got it wrong? Or are you going to?
Remember, one of the many obnoxious things you did is you would try to trap me to be abused Conspiracy Cats. I don't know, about a year or so. You and Anthony Miley, when you were trying to get me abusing about the Coke can, is a Conspiracy Cats misunderstanding of gauge pressure and gas pressure. And I did tell Conspiracy Cats who'd got that wrong. But you tried to be obnoxious about it. You were, trying to play the. No,
I'm just asking a question. They put a video out.
I don't have no problem in exposing Globers saying things that are wrong. I'm not obnoxious about it.
Okay.
But I don't know. I'm not familiar with this moon thing or whatever it is.
It's not a moon thing. It's not a moon thing.
You're nothing but obnoxious.
It's not a moon thing, Rumpus.
What are you talking about?
So
I'm just obnoxious people.
If you look at a video recently by Arctic Reflections and the one that Simon Dan chose to mirror, or essentially mirror, on his last video, you will see that they got it completely wrong. So, are you going to?
Well, I'm otherwise engaged at the moment. But yes, if Simon Dan, I've corrected him on a few, and he's accepted my corrections. And if I've made a mistake, and I don't chat to him that often. But yes, if the opportunity comes, I'll say to him, you probably shouldn't have said that in a nice, gentle way, as I usually do to nice people. Yes, I'm more than happy to tell Globers off for being wrong. I'm not a dick.
Well, he was wrong. He was demonstrably wrong.
You're saying that, but given the fact you're always wrong,
he was completely and utterly wrong.
Is this moon shaped?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, this is to do with an observation that I did. Well, I didn't do recently, but somebody sent me recently, and we pan across from a Douglas complex all the way through to the Ormond wind turbines.
Oh, that's right. I caught a bit of that.
Yes, and the problem is that Arctic Reflection used a website that didn't include the Met mast on the Ormond wind farm. So automatically defaulted to a different wind farm, which would have meant that he had to have panned through 199 wind turbines to get to that location. The problem is, when you actually count them and you use the correct data, you get a perfect lineup between the Met mast at Ormond and the line of sight which I originally pointed to, which was a distant landmass that should have been hidden by the height of Blackpool Tower, right? The problem is that they wanted to try and show that the Met mast that I'd identified was not that Met mast, was a different one that pointed to a mountain range that was 1,000 meters high, which would have been seen on the globe, right? The problem was there was a miscalculation by a huge amount.
Right. Do you remember 2 years ago when you identified a Met mast that you thought was 10 miles away, and I was telling you, along with other people, it was only a mile away, and you eventually did work out that it was just sitting in the estuary, and you completely mistook it for the Met mast on the map?
Yes.
Remember doing that?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Do you remember also misidentifying various?
In fact, I actually think I entitled a video called "Ranty Got It Wrong." In fact, I think that's on my channel. It's still up there. Ranty got it wrong, where I actually do an entire retraction video of all the shit bollock mistake that I made on that video and put it all to rest and say, I got it wrong, I'm a fuck up, right?
What about the time?
So hold on.
Okay,
Just a minute, Rumpus. Just a minute, Rumpus. So I did that retraction video. It's still on my channel, right? Now then, I'm going to say to you that this observation that they both went through, they got it wrong by a huge amount. And my question is, how can you see this mountain range in the distance that should be the height of Blackpool Tower behind Earth Curve? But we're seeing it all from top to bottom, from left to right. You can triangulate the from wind turbine, I think it's 42 or something, to wind turbine 60 something or other. And if you triangulate that data, it gets you down to around about 30 meters above sea level at 51.8 miles, Rumpus.
Right, look. I mean, just that interesting.
So. What's the deal with that? What's the deal with that?
Now, if they've made a mistake,
they got it wrong. They got it wrong.
Okay, well, I will go and have a look at that, because yes, that is a good solid.
Will they retract it?
Well, they should, obviously, if they've got it
But
wrong.
will they?
Well, I don't know what someone else is going to do.
Do you think the Globers should retract like I have done in the past?
They have. Yes, obviously they should.
If I hold my hands up and say, Ranty got it wrong, and put a video about it, how I got it wrong, do you think Simon Dan should also do the same?
Well, yes, if he's made an error in his video.
You think he should do that?
Yes, I think he should.
Thank you. Okay, I'm glad I got that from you, because that's what I was asking for.
You didn't have to extract it from me. I'm more than happy to volunteer that piece of it.
Well, maybe you should head on over to his channel and tell him that, because he got it wrong.
I'm not here to police what Simon Dan does. If I come across it, and I'm rather busy at the moment, actually, with all the things I'm trying to organise about 10 people, 15 people for something's happening in 2 weeks' time. I don't really have time to worry about what all the Globers are doing and what they should and should not be apologising for.
But maybe you should, because at the end of the
I
day...
don't have time at the moment.
It's one email or something.
It's an email, yeah, exactly.
I haven't had time to look at his email. Look at the damn thing. Been very busy.
A blind man could look at it and go, no, they got it wrong.
Well, okay. Well, if it's that, I may find time if I'm recovering from doing a bit of woodwork or live streaming or research or whatever, or bloody hell, I may have a go and peek at it and then tell him.
So anyway, what's the point? Ultimately, I looked at this refraction bollocks, and we're looking at extra supreme looming to get that. Yeah.
Right.
In fact, I maxed the scale out on the Walter Bislins. In fact, I'll put this on for everyone to see, actually. Here we go. So I put all the data in. 22 metre observer height. Distance was 83,362 metres. The target was 170 metres. And when we whiz the refraction up to the highest point...
You're not sharing, Ranty. I don't know if you intended to.
Okay, I can do that. One sec. There you go. So from the observer height of 22 meters to the target distance, 83,364 meters, we have a target of 170 meters. Now I've whacked the refraction up as high as you can go, and yeah, target visible.
Oh, sorry, I'm getting this stupid business where I'm trying to watch your stream and it's coming up with a no entry sign on you, just rotating squares and the in the Discord. I don't know why it does that.
The problem is, I had Ruhif on before, and I asked him what would be this effect. In fact, he actually posted it. Let me bring this up for the audience, actually. So here's the data for this is standard refraction.
Sorry, I can't see it. I'm trying to watch you in Discord, and I have to go to the.
Okay, so basically, to get super looming refraction, we would need a 2.0 or just below. So in order to get this, But he did this observation over many, I think it was about a month he did this data set from, and he never got anywhere close to 2.0. But on the one day that somebody goes out and does an observation and sees this distant landmass that should need this tremendous amount of refraction, we just see it, and we see it all the time around here. It's kind of weird, that, isn't it, Rumpus, that we always seem to see this shore-to-shore stuff. Yeah.
So what is this graph? So I've only just been able to see it for the first time. What are you looking at? Graph thing? That dots? What was that? That graph you were just showing us?
The graph was from Ruhif.
And that, what was it detailing? It's a chart. Did it say tide?
No. It was a data set that he'd taken over a month.
Sorry,
refraction. It was a refraction chart that he'd done himself.
Oh,
so
really? Oh, right, I missed that.
Yeah. So he'd done this, and he'd calculated the refraction index over a period of a month or so, and he never got to this super looming stuff. So here on this, this one particular day, we've got this super looming going on, where we're seeing this distant landmass that should all be hidden behind Earth curve.
Yeah, but these circulating rays that are the cause.
Yeah, what's the calculation for these circulating rays? Professor John D wants to know this.
Well, it's just K is equal to 1. I mean, that's the K value you're messing around with. Isn't
Yeah.
it?
So where do you get this data from?
Where do I get?
What's it included? We're talking about humidity. What humidity, temperature?
Profile. That's all you need. Is the temperature profile to be a particular shape.
Just temperature.
That's all you need. Yeah.
Not pressure.
No.
Not humidity.
No.
So why did Ruhif on this show a couple of hours ago tell us that those were the 3 parameters?
Well, they are, but the significant one is the temperature.
Well, you just told me. You just told me it wasn't.
The other ones are insignificant. The one that
just fucking with you.
circulates.
Yeah. You just heard him say that it wasn't anything to do with them, right? Did you just hear that?
It's not significant. Yeah, you don't. You see, you can distinguish between something that's important.
I asked you a question. I said, is it to do with this?
It has not. Effectively, it's got nothing to do with it.
You didn't say effectively. You said no, it didn't.
I have to treat you as a moron. In effect, the only thing you need to worry about is the temperature profile. The pressure and the temperature make such little difference, you don't need to worry about them. The thing that makes the difference, the thing you need to worry about, is the temperature profile.
Right, I'll tell you what.
That's what causes the change in refraction conditions. The pressure and the temperature, the individual, the pressure value and the absolute temperature value are not really important. Not really, but you can effectively ignore them. The thing that matters is the temperature profile gradient from ground level upwards, and that's what I'm measuring in my experiment. That's what causes the you to get circulating rays. That's the thing that makes the big difference. You can have pressure that's another 30 whatever it is, pressure goes from 130 to 1,000 or just under. That does not make the difference. The difference that causes the issue is the change in temperature as you go from the ground upwards, and how steep, or whether in.
Right. Okay. Rumpus. Right. Okay. Right. Listen, I'm going on mute for a minute. If anyone wants to take over here, because I just heard him say what everybody else heard him say.
Yeah, you're an idiot.
And I'm just taking a time out, so if anyone wants to have a chat with Rumpus, away you go.
Well, let me just explain this. In science, you have lots of factors that you can ignore. So, for instance, you could be worrying about pressure, temperature, electromagnetic radiation, magnetic things, and lots of these things, they do have an effect, but it's so tiny you can ignore it. So things like resistance in electrical circuits, you can say, this resistor is effectively infinity, so I don't need to worry about it. There are lots of tiny effects that you can consider and spend your time
So
worrying
a bit
about
like something with a tiny effect that we can ignore.
What scientists and engineers manage to do is to worry about the things that actually matter. And the thing that actually matters with refraction is the temperature profile. And if you read any of the literature, that is what you will find. The absolute value of the pressure doesn't really matter. The absolute value of the temperature doesn't really matter.
Right. Okay.
Absolutely doesn't really matter. What matters is the temperature profile.
Okay. Bob Dole or Right the Hand or anybody. Yeah. Away you go, mates.
You want us to clean up this mess? What?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I've walked this guy through. I've walked him through this. I feel that the audience has seen where I've walked him to, and at this point, I'm just like, you guys finish him off.
You've no idea. You really are deluded, aren't you?
Sure.
You've no idea what's going on. It's amazing. You've no appreciation of the science or the physics, or you just don't even understand bloody how
Come on.
rockets work, for Christ's sake. I mean, you didn't even understand that light bending down causes things to raise up until a few weeks ago. You don't understand anything about this subject. I mean, a few weeks ago, you thought that light bending down caused things to sink, and you've only just discovered that it doesn't. You know nothing about this subject.
What do you mean he just discovered that it does? Does it not do that?
Things
Does it not
do
cause
sink.
things to sink?
Oh my God! So there you go. You see, you don't understand it either. Jesus Christ! I suppose flat earthers just don't understand it.
Hold on, Rumpus. Hold on, Rumpus.
God.
I got you guys to model it all out and take it all down and agree with it all before I even put the video out. And then when I put the video out, you all cried like little
I've no idea
bitches.
what you're talking about.
Yes, you did.
What you're talking about.
When
I've
I
no idea what you're talking
proved that your looming on your globe model was our sinking on our flat plane.
You've never shown anything else.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Perhaps, but you're
It's
delusional.
been one of the biggest jumps forward for flat Earth in the past year. And you didn't even realise it? Is that what you're trying to tell me? Are you having a
I
joke?
don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, he
Well,
doesn't
then you just
understand.
don't understand it.
You
Rumpus.
didn't
Yeah, he
understand
doesn't
until a
understand
few
it?
weeks ago that light bending down causes things to raise them up. You've only just when you did your laser test in the tank. It's only then did you discover that light bending down causes things to move
On
up.
your model, Rumpus. On your model. On your listen. Hold on, Rumpus. Hold on. Hold on, Rumpus. On your model, my friend. On your model. On your model, it looms. On our model, it sinks. It's very simple. It's the same effect. The same temperature gradient, the same pressure, everything that you talk about. If you apply it on a globe, it looms. If you apply it on a flat plane, it sinks. It's very simple. You guys even modelled it out. And when I actually modelled it out and talked about it, you guys then tried to retract it. It's too late. The cat's out of the bag, my friend. We already know this. We've demonstrated it. We've got Brandon Toy doing these observations that proves it too. You guys are screwed, mate.
Let me get this right. You're making the claim that on a flat Earth model, if light bends down, that causes things to sink. Is that what you're saying? Is that your claim? You've gone all quiet on me. You know what I mean? You're muted. Let's just reiterate.
You might have
Ranty
decided to
appears to
stop
be making
talking.
the claim.
It doesn't matter what you say his claim is.
Appears
You
to be
can just go
making the
watch the
claim
video.
that on a flat Earth, if light bends down, as in his tank, that causes things to sink. And anybody who
doesn't
has
need to make
any
a claim,
understanding
Rumpus.
of this will realise that's a load of bollocks.
He doesn't need to make a claim. Just go watch the video. Go observe what it happens in the video. It's that simple. There doesn't need to be a claim first. You can just go watch it and see what happens.
Well, I did see his laser thing, and he got it all wrong. He even admitted that he got it wrong. When I used
No, I didn't. Don't even go there. I didn't, Rumpus. Nothing got wrong. No, nothing got Rumpus. No. Do you know, I actually... Hold on, Rumpus. No, it wasn't... That wasn't I got...
confused.
Yeah, exactly is. The video that I got wrong was my targets that I was looking for. The targets that I was looking for. That's what I got wrong. You know, in an observation like a year ago. You know, this, what we're talking about right now, was done on Jeranism's show like 8 months ago. You know, you had your pants pulled down back then. You know? Just the way it is.
If you think you've provided any evidence, so let me get this right. You think that if light bends down on a flat Earth, that's going to cause things to sink. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Oh my
Yes.
God. Oh my God.
He proved it.
Oh my God. Okay, I'll obviously
Him
have to do
and
a video on it.
Brandon.
Oh my God. How stupid can you be? I mean, it's just basic geometry. Okay, I'll have to go through this again. I thought.
Hold on, geometry, did you say? Geometry, did
Yeah,
you say?
basic geometry.
Yeah,
On-
can we talk about basic geometry?
Can we talk about geometry?
Well, I can show you. I can prove to you with basic geometry that you're completely wrong.
Geometry.
Yeah, you got it. You know, that thing that's
Earth measure,
that thing that's provable.
geometry,
Yeah, if we put in a flat
the
Earth
thing
model,
that
and I
has
bend-
horizontal
some
and
height,
vertical 90
We already-
degrees from each other and
if I bend
parallel
some- if I
with
show
another
a ray-
Apparently,
plane.
if he
if
writes
I show
down
a ray
some numbers
going
and
down,
symbols,
I can
it'll
show
prove
you
your
that it must
observation
raise it
wrong.
up.
Okay.
So I can show you geometrically that if a ray is bending down,
Yeah, well, enough of that shit. Right. Rumpus
Yeah,
is
enough
muted
of
for
that.
tonight.
Thank
yeah,
you.
he's had a good
How-
crack of the whip.
Delusional do you have to be to like? He thinks
Yeah.
apparently if he does some geometry, if he does this conceptual thing in his head concerning math, that will somehow disprove your actual, literal, physical
Actual-
observation of our world.
Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah,
How can you possibly be that demented and delusional?
I don't know, but he is.
Has he said yet what observation during his tests or whatever he's calling them would falsify the globe model? Has he said that?
He's not interested
Oh,
in
he
falsifying
did say
it.
something about.
No, he's not
But he-
interested in it
remember,
though.
he did say he would admit it was a flat Earth if something happened.
Right, listen.
Remember, he
I,
goes, "Oh,
do
yeah, I
vaguely
would have
remember
to."
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I
here's-
can't remember what it was that was said that he would agree to, though.
Right, Arctic Reflections.
Like,
Listen. Arctic Reflections did a video, and he said, if the wind turbine is the correct wind turbine, and if it's the right mountain behind, then we live on a flat plane.
Then
Right.
we live on a flat plane. Yeah.
That's what he said, right? That's what he said.
Yep.
And it was demonstrable that was the case. Do you think he's going to come out as a flat earther?
Yeah.
Well, he should.
He's not
I don't think he will.
He's not gonna though, is he?
Yeah, I don't think he will.
No.
He's
Of
not
course
going
he
to.
won't.
No, there'll be some. He'll go running off to his bally mates and get a little bit of soothing for his cog dis, and he'll be back on the ball riding the horse again, no problem.
I mean, you can show them these observations, and they can turn around and say, yes, well, if that was proved that was the right mountain range, then yes, clearly we live on a flat plane. Because, I mean, the refraction needed to get that, it's super duper looming refraction, right?
You lead a horse to water, but you can't make him recognize that the water is level.
But then you prove,
Exactly.
prove
Lead
them
a
wrong.
sheep to flat water.
You show them that, okay, you screwed up. It is the observation that was showed. I mean, it is shore-to-shore observation of this distant mountain that's like 51.8 miles away. Suddenly, they'll go quiet. They'll just forget it ever happened.
Yeah, it was one of us said something, if that happened, then that proves we live on a ball. If one of us ever said that, we'd be torn apart, being forced to admit that it was a ball.
Right, listen to this, guys. Listen to this. This is the video that I put out yesterday.
And the right flying turbine. We live on a flat Earth.
Right, let me listen to what he says.
That is absolutely correct.
Rant is absolutely correct.
If we have chosen the right mountain
If I've chosen the right mountain
and the right flying turbine,
and the
I've
right
just come in to announce the same thing, by the way.
and the right wind turbine,
we live on a flat Earth.
we live on a
What?
flat Earth. Here we go. Right, okay. So,
Ruhiv?
Ruhif, go ahead. You come in to announce what?
What?
He is it Brian Shuker?
Yes, it is Brian Shuker's video. Yes.
Brian Shuker is looking through Gwinty Moor at the Anglesea Mountain, 178 metres, whatever it is, not looking through Burbo Bank Extension. And claim to know.
Oh, woohoo!
You may
Thank
clip
you,
this out
Ruhiv.
and publish it if you like.
Yeah.
According to him,
I really
we do
appreciate
live on a
that,
flat
Yeah. So do you
I don't
agree
expect
with
you to
Arctic
say that we live on a
Reflection's
flat Earth
statement
now, but yeah, I
So,
do
so,
appreciate
so,
you picking up.
so how definitive are you that this is the correct, turbine and mountain?
Fairly. My only concern is that the Met mass coordinates aren't 100% correct, but the pattern of turbines. So if you pause,
Yeah, that's what we were going by.
Where is it? Ah, fuck, hang on. Let me just pause it. Yeah, so if at that pause point, there are 3 turbines bunched together, then 1 by itself, and then 2, and then 2, and then 1. So there's a pattern in the turbines. That pattern matches incredibly well with my coordinates for Gwinty Moor. The Met mast doesn't. The Met mast, maybe the coordinates are wrong for the Met mast, but it should be a little bit to the left, I think.
But it's certainly not the one that's 199 turbines away. It's definitely the one. Yeah,
it's Gwinty Moor. Yeah.
Okay, so it's definitely the mountain that's like the height of Blackpool Tower behind Earth Curve that we're seeing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's what was the hidden? What was it? Standard refraction hidden was like 200 and something.
Yeah, a lot of meters. A lot of meters. So. Okay, so I thank you for doing that. Actually.
Yeah,
so,
thank you.
Yeah, so it's nice to actually get someone in and be honest about stuff. So how does that, what do you feel about this
lovely.
then? So you've come and you've seen this. Is that super duper looming refraction in this location, or
I haven't worked it out. At a guess, it would be probably around 1.6 thereabouts. I'd have to do a bit more analysis to work out how much refraction that would require.
Okay.
But at a guess, about 1.6.
So Brian's going along tomorrow to repeat the observation, right? So this isn't a setup or anything. So tomorrow evening, he's going to do the same observation. If he gets a
can you ask him? Can you ask him to take a photo of the surroundings where he is? I assume he's on that platform.
He is on the platform.
But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how high it is and blah blah. So yeah.
Okay, so if he goes along and gets that's sort of like the same observation from the same platform, what then? What is that? Is it like a localized phenomena that we've got this magic refraction going on, super duper looming magic refraction going on?
I wouldn't even call it super duper looming. It's high refraction. Well, that's not outrageous.
Yeah, but if he goes on the same day and he gets the exact same observation, in other words, if he goes the same day and he sees the mountain in a very similar place, if not identical place, in relation to the turbines that are in the foreground, obviously, is that not a direct contradiction to your model?
No, because refraction is variable. What I think will happen is if he goes back on a day that is not is standard refraction, he's not going to see the mountains, right?
Yeah, but
and then he's going to say, "Oh, I didn't see the mountains because of visibility."
Yeah, but he's just going on a random day tomorrow. So I know that he's today for me now. So I know he's going today to do this observation. So.
Yep.
If he happens to go ahead and do the observation and he gets a very similar observation, is it just, the refraction needed for this is quite substantially high. Your graph that you gave to me, the one that's in the chat right now, only goes up to 1.5. And how long did you do that How long was that over?
I cut it off at 1.5 just to make it.
But how long was it over? How long did you do the observations for? Over how many days?
That was 90. I think it was 90 days in Vegas.
Okay, so this was
to be clear. I cut the graph off at 1.5.
Okay, so this was 3 months. So we've got 3 months of observations right now. Let's get this image up, and you can see how few actually make it past 1.45. Right? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 that make it past 1.45.
Are you showing your
Paige?
screen?
Are you tapping? Paige, are you tapping?
Oh shit! Sorry, I thought I went on mute. Sorry.
Okay, so we've got right. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 8 or 9 that go above 1.45, and you're saying this 1.6 that will be up here.
Hang on, are you broadcasting something? Are you?
Yes, just your chart that you put in the chat, right? So
I don't think we can see it, Randy.
Yeah, I'm not sharing it to the Discord, but there's essentially like 250 or 300 that are below that, and there's only 8 or 9 that are above 1.45. So you're saying that this would be about 1.6. So that's a very, very rare phenomena, right? But if he was to able to capture that twice on the 2 times that he actually went, what's the chances of him getting it 2 times 1.6 when you did this observation for 3 months and the highest it went to was 1.49, I think. 1.49.
Like I said, that's not the highest that it went to. That's where I chose to cut the graph off.
It doesn't look like that.
Well, that's
in fact,
that's where I chose to cut the graph off.
In fact, you've got one at 1.45, you've got 2 at 1.46, 3 at 1.47, 1 at 1.48, 1 at 1.49, and you've got hundreds in the 1.15s. So
yeah, that's typical.
I don't think that you saying that you've cut it off here is like there's going to be hundreds up here somehow.
No, of course not.
No.
But there's also the fact that these, to explain a little bit what I did there. So there are the weather balloon first of all takes a reading at the ground level, and then its first reading sometimes could be up to like 200 meters above sea level. So when it says the average gradient between 0 and 200 meters is like 1.5, this observation here is very close to the surface. The gradient changes closer to the surface. So this 1.5, see how it on the x-axis, I don't know how much that would be, maybe it's maybe 250 meters maybe. So that one could have been an average gradient of 1.5 between 0 meters and 500 meters, right? Over a very high altitude between 0 and 500. That was the average. But the gradient will change and most likely become steeper closer to the surface.
Could you work out the chances of 2 observations on 2 separate random days, both getting a scale of 1.6 on your scale? I'd
say the same. You know, you got BMLSB taking 3 months of observations of his oil platforms, and 2 days out of 90 he gets basically a flat-looking Earth, and the rest he gets oil platforms hidden by Earth curve. That was his standard.
Is it? Hold on, wait a minute. Is it Earth curve though? You're talking about very low observations here, where the water can definitely have an effect. You know, the incoming and outgoing out of the swell.
Get above that.
But he wasn't.
75, was he 75 feet or 75 meters? He was high enough to reduce at least.
So you're trying to, but what you're trying to do now is you're trying to remove us from this observation, which is the observation that he's going to be doing tomorrow, that we don't know the results of yet. We don't know what those results are going to be. It could be that he goes along and he doesn't get to even see the mountain because there's too little visibility. That's a possibility. Or it's possible.
No, but maybe it's not because of visibility. Maybe it's just refraction is typical.
Yeah.
And it's behind.
So like you say, it could be behind the curve, it could be visibility, or for whatever reason. But let's suppose he goes along tomorrow and he's able to see the same mountain range.
I'd say good for him.
The trouble is, and this is what I'm going to say to you, Ruhif, which is what I said to you before, it's the same thing in my location. I go down to Cleveland's, I go along and I can see Barrow in Furnace, no problem, 18 miles away, shore to shore, every time.
I would disagree. You see it shore to shore every time. I've seen plenty of your footage.
Plenty of Inferior Mirage. Plenty of Inferior Mirage.
I've seen plenty where Walney Lighthouse is basically hidden.
You saw one with... hold on, wait a sec.
That big green...
Hold on 1 sec. Let me just stop you in your tracks there. The one time that you saw Walney Lighthouse behind a wall of water, and it was a wall of water, it wasn't a flat horizon, it was a wall of water, and that was because of the tidal bore that pushes in. And I only found that out because I actually had to research it, and I found that my observational height, which was at 4 feet, was way below the 2 meter push of the incoming tidal bore. So I was actually looking over across water that was physically in my line of sight to that lighthouse. And you know you know this, and you actually saying this is dishonest because you know that's the truth.
We had a conversation. Remember the that big green crane down at the docks at Walney, or wherever it is?
Do you agree? Hold on, wait. First and foremost, do you agree that there's a tidal bore?
Do I agree tidal bores exist?
No.
Yes.
Do you agree there's a tidal bore in my location? From that location, not my location, but from that specific location.
Yeah, we'll disagree on the magnitude of what it changes the water level by.
Why would you do that?
Because getting back to the green crane,
even when you've got the data that tells you what the tidal bore does.
I don't have that data, but I calculated that the deformation.
Well, if you don't have the data, why are you telling me that I don't have the data? I've told you the data.
I calculated that the deformation in the water would need to be about 7 meters to hide that crane as much as it did, which is ridiculous, right?
The crane behind the sand dune, behind, the crane that's like 18 miles away in a different, hold on, I've got it. The crane going over the topography of the land that's deeper in that trench that I told you, that I showed you before, when I said to you, when you look across the plains, the flat plains, and you have this trench on one side and a trench on another, and I said when you look through those trenches, you see obstruction. When you look through the plains, you see a very shore-to-shore observation. And I did the same when I looked down at Llandudno from Hoy Lake, and I showed you the same, and I said it's flat here. And you said, why is it flat? And you talked about the elevation, and I said to you, yes, because it's just like 7 meters below the actual water level the whole way. We don't have any of these trenches. So when you're looking at the crane, which is to the right, I am looking over that trench. And I did say to you that those trenches make an effect because they will cause an artificial hump in that location.
Do they change it by 7 meters?
Doesn't have to.
It does, because that's
it doesn't have to. It doesn't. Listen, you can say that. Can you provide this information now? Prove me 7 meters.
Yeah.
Prove me 7 meters.
This is months ago, right?
7 meters, right?
This is months ago.
Yeah, go on. Tell me how it's proving 7 meters. How much did we see of the crane? How much was missing? And what was the?
I can't dig out a conversation from 6 months ago on the spot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I calculated it would need to deform the water by 7 meters, and that is ridiculous.
So you say, what about the lighthouse? In the same footage. So on the right-hand side, which is just a few degrees to the right, we get this obstruction to the crane. And when we look to the left, when we're looking across the plains, the flat plains, the no trench from shore to shore under the water, we are seeing the entire lighthouse and all of Walney Lighthouse, all of Barrow Furnace in the distance from shore to shore. So we've got in the same footage. So in the same footage, we've got shore to shore on the left. We've got obstruction on the right. Why is that?
I completely disagree with the shore to shore part. You're not seeing shore to shore.
We're not seeing 70 foot of obstruction, are we?
I haven't calculated anything.
Well, I am, because you've just told me that it's 7 meters or so that's hidden of that crane.
To cover up that much of the crane on a flat Earth would require about 7 meters of obstruction due to deformation of the water.
Yeah. And what about not seeing any? Hold on. And in the same footage, not seeing any obstruction of the lighthouse.
I disagree that there's no obstruction with the lighthouse.
There was no obstruction to the lighthouse.
This is going back a long time.
In the same footage, we have, when you look across the water that has no underwater topography, that's not, that's flat, and then you look across the topography of the land that has a trench in it, you see two different effects. under the flat water from shore to shore, you see shore to shore observations, and when you've got the trench to the right, you see obstruction. My entire point exactly, that when the water goes over these trenches, it causes a uplift in the water. And that's also science. Science proves this, that this is what happens, Ruhif. You're just denying it. You're denying your own science.
You can measure that against the channel markers. So that should be a good.
You only need to
little,
listen. You only need to look at the videos to show that. Shore to shore, shore to shore, looking in one direction. You move 10 degrees to the right, and you get obstruction of about 70 feet. Why is that?
Send me the videos and I'll look at it again. You've got one concession out of me today, right? Let's go for another.
That's fair enough. Listen, I could do this all day long because I've done these observations for the past 5 years, so it's all good. It's all good to me. I know my land. I know the topography, and I also know that I can go down to Hoy Lake and I can see the lighthouse on the rock of Llandudno, which you shouldn't be able to see. And I can see all the way down, all the way. I can follow that rock all the way down to the bottom. Yeah, and I know that tomorrow. That we have somebody going out there tomorrow that's going to see the same mountain that we shouldn't be able to see to Earth curve. I know that's going to happen. As long as the visibility is enough for him to actually see that far, he's going to see that mountain. I know that. And you're going to claim that it's super duper looming 1.6 refraction. And I'm going to say, no, we just see it because water doesn't curve, Rumpus. Water does not curve. Unless, it doesn't at bath. Yeah, you can splash it in a water. What I mean is, water doesn't curve unless it has energy inputted into it. It doesn't curve around. It's not a globe, Rumpus.
Ruth. Anyway, send me that video you want me to look at again.
Okay.
And feel free to snip out my Arctic reflections thing and stick it in a video of yours or whatever. Cool.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'll let you go. All right. All right. Take care. See you later. Oh, man, I'm het up tonight.
The problem is there's never going to be a long distance observation that's going to satisfy these guys. They can just move their refraction slider further and further. But I will be interested to see if Arctic Reflections is going to stand by his words that if that is the mountain, then we live on a flat Earth.
Yes, that would be very interesting, because he did say that. If it was the turbine, and if it was the mountain, we live on a flat Earth. He said that. And he put a video out saying that and stating that, so let's see. I mean, it's quite obvious that it was the mountain that was pointed out. Even Ruhif has been in this evening and backed that claim up too. Anybody with half a brain can see that it was the mountain I picked out.
My prediction is that he got oversure of himself, and he will fall back on the same excuse that Ruhif just gave us, which is this is only 1 point whatever refraction, and this is what we expect on a flat plane every once in a while, blah, 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 or on a globe every once in a while, blah, blah, blah. In other words, he was probably just talking out his ass, but I'll be surprised. Maybe he has some integrity and we'll stand by what he said.
And we'll also see whether or not Simon Dan addresses it, because he said it was a win for the globe. He said it was a win for the globe. So let's see whether or not he's now going to retract that and say it's a win for flat Earth. Because he should. That would be the honest thing to do. But he's going to protect his brand. That's what he's going to do. He's going to protect the brand because it's Simon Dan brand and he can't be wrong. So what he's going to do is just going to completely ignore it. He's going to pretend it didn't happen. He's going to let the video stand. And he won't inform his subscribers that he got it wrong and then get into an honest debate about refraction. That's what he won't do.
Of course not. No, of course not. They're not here for that, Renty.
He'll never bring it up again.
An honest debate about refraction would get people questioning, especially globers.
Exactly.
The idea.
You don't want people to question.
that when you go down to the beach and you see a distant land in the background, when you look at it and you see it and you see a plane or a boat in the distance, you know, you're not actually seeing it. It's not really there. It's a hologram. It's in, you know, it's
Renty,
just,
that,
you know.
that sunset that I was talking about on Cleary's latest video, they go through it and show you how the sun reflects into itself. And you've actually got two horizons. The horizon where the sun is, and this is an observation that you don't see with your naked eye. He was doing it with these P1000. So you're seeing something that you normally wouldn't see. And I think you would be very interested in this sunset. It's amazing.
I'll watch
I really
it.
encourage you to go and have a look at it. Yeah.
I'll watch it tomorrow. The anything with optics, you know what it's like. It's it drags me in. But yeah, these guys have just got it so wrong. It's like, imagine going down to the beach with somebody and saying, "Hey, do you see that over there?" And say, "What?" Say, "Yeah." Say, "What do you mean, that mountain over there?" Say, "No, not that, because that's not really there." And they go, "What the hell? What are you on about?" "Yeah, it's there." And you say, "No, it's a hologram." And you say, "Why is it a hologram?" Say, "We shouldn't be able to see it. It should be behind Earth curve. So it's a hologram." And they say, Get out of here. I can see it. It's there. It's a solid thing." Because that's what, you know, we see. We see things. We know what a hologram
Well, it's
is.
just the same as if you ask a normie what a water level is for, what is water, what does water do, they'll tell you it lays flat, horizontal, everywhere. You know, we use water levels to make a horizontal line. But you ask a baller, and that horizontal line all of a sudden curves.
I wonder if refraction could be a defence against something. So I wasn't really there.
Murder. Yeah, I wasn't really there. I was refracted.
I was refracted
into the house.
They saw me, and I wasn't, you know, what they thought.
I wasn't really there.
They thought they saw me, but what they saw was a hologram of me, because I was refracted up from Earth curve. So they saw me commit this murder through some telescopes.
Well, Bob
but it wasn't me.
Bob has already identified that the cause of the Titanic sinking was refraction. So I'm still waiting to hear if Bigfoot may be due to refraction or some other things that have happened. But
It's ridiculous, isn't it?
It is, isn't it?
I've asked these guys for, you know, their formulas to work this out, and they're just not going to do it. There is no form. Right, okay, guys, listen, I'm going to round up. I'm getting tired.
No worries, Renty.
Is
watch the video.
Sorry, who said that?
The Himawari.
Oh yes, go ahead. Sorry, my mistake. Yes.
I'll put it in the show.
No.
Really
Go ahead, Rob. Bob Dole, you have a video to present this evening.
It's not mine. That's okay, right?
Sure, I guess.
It's on YouTube. I want to make sure, because I don't want you to get.
Whose channel is it?
Let me check. I will see if I can find out. I have the thing already copied. Oh no, I copied something else, so I'll go grab it. Hold on. Oh no. Hold on. Oh, I should be able to find it. Just let me. I had it copied and pasted, but then I was doing stuff while you guys were chatting, so then I copied and pasted other things and stuff. So I just got to go back and find it. So hold on. In my history, where are you, YouTubes? Here we go. Open in new tab. It is by Paul on the Plane.
Oh, Paul. Yeah, sure. Fire it in. Yeah, I'll play his video. Put it in the general chat, and I'll whack it on.
Okay.
Right. Okay. Now let's bring that over there. Let's pause that. Let's share the screen. Here we go. So you should see that in the Discord chat right now. I'm going to put myself on mute and we'll play the video.
Hey guys, Paul on the plane back here with you. Welcome to episode 2 of Faking Space, now in our second season. Today we're going to focus on the Himawari geostationary satellite, which we're told is something like a mind-boggling 22,000 miles away from the Earth, sending us a real picture every 10 minutes. Did you know the Himawari ironically means sunflower? So, yeah. There's proof of the heliocentric sun worshippers model right there. So why are we picking on the Himawari today? Well, defenders of the heliocentric model love to point to the quote-unquote almost real-time images from the Himawari as proof of a globular Earth, since it allegedly gives us a picture every 10 minutes, and the weather data seems to be, pretty current. Well, unfortunately for the ballers, we're going to debunk that completely here, simply in the next 5 minutes, and show you how they fake it all. Let's cut right to the smoking gun to start. Here is the website anyone can go to and see this all for themselves. On a side note, the Himawari is operated by the Japanese Meteorological Space Agency and brought to us by the NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration's GOES geostationary satellite server. And I'll include the links here for all this stuff in the video description, so you can check it out right now if you want. Okay, so when you're at the FTP site, click here for the site description. So when you do, a text file comes up and you can see right here, they tell you that all of the images in the archive use the underlying colored land images from the NASA Blue Marble dataset. Yep. So the Himawari is actually totally debunked right there. These aren't real pictures coming from a satellite in a geostationary orbit above the Earth getting snapped every 10 minutes and being beamed down for us to all ooh and ah over. They take the Blue Marble data set, which I'm sure you remember. They admitted years ago was a flat strip data pieced together by an artist named Rob Simon in Photoshop, because it had to be, right? But to move on, and then to just briefly show you how they generate a picture every 10 minutes with what appears to be accurate and current weather. This is basically what they do. Now, don't take my word for it, as I always say. Go check it out for yourself. Number 1, they have already created and stored transparent images of the weather over the oceans using climate simulation software, which they openly admit right here that they've done climate simulations up to the year 2095. But it's actually the year 2100 on this FTP server folder, and here's one of the images. And following some of the other images that you can find where the land masses are transparent, and they use all this simulation software to come up with the weather over the oceans. Since our weather data comes from our ground-based Doppler radar, and it's impossible to use ground-based systems to cover the entire vast oceans, so that's where the weather over the oceans comes from, their software simulations. Number 2, now for the weather over the land, the NOAA has supercomputers that take data coming in from all over the world, Doppler radar feeds, and crunch it all together and combine it with the weather simulation data over the oceans, so they come up with a complete composite weather quote-unquote map, which is then wrapped around a ball in their 3D modeling software programs, just like we've shown countless times in our previous episodes with the Earth and the planets, etc. So, then what we get are composite images like this that are created in the 3D modeling software, the current Doppler weather data over land and the simulated weather over the oceans, and it looks like this. So this particular image is on the FTP server and is date and time stamped with October 11th, 2017 at 11:05 a.m. I just chose one randomly. Notice the image shows you the weather for the whole ball and not just part of the ball that is lit by the sun at this particular time. No Terminator line or anything like that. Right? Okay, now here's the kicker. Go to the other file folder, which is the images that we get to see and are told are real pictures from space. But what they've simply done is taken the weather map picture of the whole ball they created and they superimpose it over the Blue Marble data set, just like they said they did. So what you can see here is the final version of what we're spoon-fed and told is a picture taken by the Himawari from space, like 10 minutes ago. This is the image from the same date and time, October 11th, 2017 at 11:05 a.m. And you can see that the weather is exactly the same. Watch it closely. There's your weather map comprised of simulated and Doppler radar being used to complete a composite image. They do this with the Discover satellite too, the epic camera from 1 million miles away, they tell us. Ridiculous. Okay. Now, also notice the final image has a Terminator line added in to try and make it look like a real picture from space, which drives a nail in the coffin of the Himawari because the weather data shows it over the whole ball completely. But they have to add a Terminator line to show the Earth only partially lit by the sun based on the time of day that the photo is allegedly taken. So if this is a real picture, how did they know where to put the clouds and weather on the part of the globe with no sunlight? It's completely dark there. It's all right here, guys. They are faking space. Hey, we all fell for it for a long time with their Doppler radar and weather simulation software, building a current weather picture and wrapping it around a ball in 3D software and pasting it onto a black background like they do with all the others, adding a Terminator line and calling it a real picture from space. Himawari debunked once and for all.
That was the video that the Sophia and whatever the other one is take the same images.
Yeah, it's a classic video.
They shouldn't have to do it. Like that right there should make you like any reasonable person who likes having truth rather than being deceived. Like they should look at that and be like, okay, if this stuff is real, if the satellites are real, if they can really do what they say they do, why would they have to fake this thing? Why?
Exactly.
Why would they have to lie about it?
Well, I'm going to post
Why not just show us what's really there? If that's what's there,
Right.
if the ball is what's there.
If the satellite's up there, if it can take pictures the way that they say it can, and our ball or our Earth is shaped the way they say it is, if all these things are true, just like they say that they're true, why do they have to have these fake things set up to act like it's taking a picture every 10 minutes?
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, I've posted the link to the video. That's Paul on the plane. I've been on his radio show a couple of times. He does do a podcast over there. I've also been on his channel a couple of times. He's been on here before, so we're quite well acquainted. I've actually met him in real life as well, actually. We had dinner together. so yeah, I'm quite familiar with Paul on the plane, and I'm sure that he wouldn't mind me sharing that particular segment. So definitely, it's all fake. Bob's giving it what for in the fucking chat, and I can believe it too, because this is one of the videos that you guys should be sharing everywhere, because it's so fucking obvious that they fake it all, you know? There's no denying it. I mean, you just need to watch the video.
Right.
Just listen back to it. Listen to what he's showing you, right? He's showing you the JPEGs. He's showing you how they collect the data. He's showing you how they input the Terminator line. He's doing it.
They have it. They have the information generated up to what did he say, 2095 or 2100?
Yeah, 2100.
The information is already pre-generated, and they're just slapping it on there.
Yep.
I mean, ball, really, it's embarrassing what these ballers will believe now. With everything that we try to show them, to keep hanging on so badly, it's just embarrassing.
Himawari debunked, absolutely. That's Paul on the plane. Right, guys, listen, I'm gonna round up. So, F Evangelist, do you want to do your roundup? Okay, Aaron, how about you?
Just tuned in for the past 20 minutes again. Thanks, Randy, for putting all this together.
No worries, mate. Negator? Paige, final thoughts?
Well, the ballers are quiet, aren't they? Yeah, no, good show. Thanks, Ranty. Hopefully people will take another look at that Paul on the plane video, and especially on the ball side, and just have a real good think about why that needs to be that way.
Okay, thank you, Paige. The real Bob Dole?
Basically, just to add on to what Paige is saying, not only why does it need to be that way, but it's not about one mistake proving absolutely that the Earth is flat. That's not the point. The point is, why do they need to have any of these mistakes? Why are they faking it to begin with? Why is there a place or a time for them to have the mistake? Why aren't they just showing us the real thing if it's so easy and so proven and so obvious?
The Rumpus, if you are listening, you're probably listening in the chat, but you deafened yourself in the Discord. Are you there for your final thoughts? Guess not. Right. Okay. Brandon Toy.
Hey, good stuff, Randy. Nice show. Yeah, that Himawari video is excellent. The only rebuttal I've heard from the Globers is, well, yeah, some of the images are composites, but there's others that are actual, real, 100% images with no manipulation. Although I haven't been able to get them to show me how I could tell the difference or where that's listed. So still looking for that information. Good show. Good night, everybody.
Cheers. I'll have to get Brandon. I'll have to get Paul on the plane on at some point soon.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Right hand. Final thoughts there, please.
Yeah, no, that was a good Himawari thing. It's clear. In 2100, yeah, they know, but they can't predict the weather tomorrow.
Yeah, pretty shit, innit? Right, guys. Yeah, awesome. Thank you. All the panelists that made the show this evening, thank you very much. All the people that tuned in on this Saturday evening. Again, a bit of a wild card late stream. You know what I mean? I didn't expect to even go live this evening, so just definitely a random 5 minutes before, and we still got 120 people watching, so that was pretty cool. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the show. Let's hope the Rumpus can change his his ideas and do the nighttime observation. That would be the best solution, I think. I don't think he will, but at least he knows that that's our position right now, so we'll see what happens. Right, I think Globebusters is what's that saying? Globebusters, maladjusted is scaring me. He's gonna kick my ass. Save me, Ranty. Okay, right. Right, listen, I think Globebusters is going live tomorrow, in which case I'm sure he'll give me a thumbs up and say that he is. If so, it'll be on either YouTube or DLive. Yeah, just stop by. I'm going to have a night off tomorrow. Definitely going to have a night off tomorrow. I'm going to chill out. So I'll be back on Monday. So, yeah, take care of yourselves, look after yourselves, be good to one another. And I will, if you decide to return. I'll see you on Monday. Take care.